The first panelist I'd like to introduce is Mr. Udomo Ali. He's a career counselor. He's a lawyer turned global educator and mentor. And his story just proves that your career doesn't have to be linear to be meaningful. Here also we have Christie Epelle, who is a business leader with 8 years of experience in international sales, business development, and strategy. She currently drives growth across Africa in the electric vehicle sector. And through our platform, Career with Christie, she mentors professionals and shares practical insights on career and personal growth. Good morning, lady and gentleman. I'd love to hear your voices. Oh, one more person just entered the chat, and that's wonderful. I'm going to just introduce her shortly. Omolade Ademiluyi is an education and gender advocate and the founder of Interncademy, a platform that equips students and graduates with future of work skills. She has helped thousands secure internships and jobs. She's also the author of Detox. She's a Yali and McKinsey fellow and is passionate about shaping education to employment pathways for the next generation. A round of applause for our panelists. We're so excited for you. We're so excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Awesome. So I'll just be diving right into the panel session and just the questions we have for you. Your questions are they're very customized to, your journey and, what we feel that, our participants have to learn from you here today. Thank you so much. It's so great seeing your beautiful faces. It's almost like a real conversation. Hi, Omolade. Hi, Udomo. Hi, Christy.
Hi.
Ooh, fellow glasses girl. Oh
Hi.
my gosh. Hi. All right. So let's just dive into the questions. Um, Udomo,
Yes.
you studied law, I studied law, so we're twins practically. You pivoted from law into, career consulting, and
Yep.
that's quite an interesting, shift. I'm just curious
Mhm.
as to what gave you the courage to make that shift and like how did you manage that transition?
All right. Thank you very much. I think the first thing I will say is by virtue of my law degree or my legal training, it has equipped me with so many skills that could be used irrespective of the discipline or the industry you find yourself. And I try to tell people that you should leverage on your skills. Your training could be used in other things. Because you studied education, accounting doesn't necessarily mean you should follow the stereotype. You can actually do a lot of things. So I actually delved into the training we got from our local training, and that was how I started. I realized I'm someone who generally just like to speak to people, offer a listening ear, and at the same time, I may not be able to resolve all your situations, but most importantly, I'll be able to proffer something that we could work together with, and that's how it started. It started when I was working as a human resource officer for an online university in Estonia. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I could do something like that. I started talking and from career counseling to admissions advisor, and that's how it started, I'll say in a nutshell.
That is so cool. I know you weren't here yesterday, but it's so funny because Damlar was saying something similar, yesterday. And I feel, the world of work is just full of people that said, okay, these are my skills. I'm going to redirect it, in this way.
Mhm.
So that's fascinating. And yeah, I'm coming back to you, right? So
Sure.
but Walade, I was curious, I read your bio and it's just so impressive, just looking at your profile and how you're dedicated to creating opportunities for young people. I'm I feel you've seen a lot, in that sector. And so I'd like to ask you, like your perspective, you've been around and what gaps would you say you've seen and how the educational system or just degrees in general just prepare students for today's workplace?
All right. Thank you. First of all, I'd say thank you for putting this together. I know a lot of things that have gone on, behind the scenes. So well done to you guys, and thank you for having me here. Some of the things that I would say, like gaps that I think I'll just start from like very funny story of even how I eventually started like Interncademy. I was on a review committee, like my organization had put out the call, a previous organization I was working with had put out the call for interns, and we had, I think, about 7,000 applications, but it was so hard to find like people that sort of knew what they were doing. So a lot of people had funny looking CVs. Some people couldn't even draft, right? Like an email subject. Like some people who send it without a subject, without an email body. So I'm like, even if you want to get a job, right? You're obviously not prepared, because this just even shows that you probably don't know you really don't know like how to get into the workforce, right? So there was already a very big gap, and I noticed that because we're all interns, of course, probably just fresh out of university, and that just showed me that there was actually a huge problem. So of course, I mean that just showed that there was a huge problem with the education system, and not students not knowing how to position themselves was really, really, it was really saddening for me. So that's how I even started like doing Interncademy. So for a lot of gaps, I think I will talk about is one of the things is like critical thinking. I don't think the educational system here in Nigeria, prepares students to just think critically, because you see like you see like maybe like in exams, or even from like my own experience, like exams that lecturers will say, "Oh, write exactly what I taught you, what exactly was in the textbook." Like where is the space for me to actually think and write down what I like my own thoughts, right? Where is the space to actually develop my own thoughts and be able to stand on my own? So those kind of things, right? Don't even prepare. And one of the things I also noticed is practicality, right? A lot of I'm not saying there's anything wrong with theory, right? But bridging that gap and having a balance is very important. If you're having so much theory without practical, then there's a gap, there's a problem, because you don't expect that somebody that you don't really teach how to apply the things that they've learned, the theory that they've learned. You don't expect them to just know it just by being there, right? So you see that as a major gap, just teaching people how to apply those skills. And I know a lot of people have to, like for like the African context or Nigerian context, you have to now start to, check, okay, what can I actually now do, to improve myself? If the system is not really working, then I have to now take that, that for that step. But yeah, these are some of the gaps, right? Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I agree with you, how, sometimes you learn a degree, you've gone to school, you've gotten some education, but then it's all theoretical, and then you enter the job market and nobody really cares about what you've been able to write in your project. It's like, what can you do? Right. And I just want to take this time before I go into my next question to welcome Mr. Ogbonnaya Stephen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. He's the founder of Afriprep. He has experience spanning 3 whole continents, and he combines strategy with storytelling to raise Africa's next generation of globally competitive professionals. Welcome, sir. I'll
Thank
go right
you.
back to you shortly, but I just wanted to introduce you to our participants. So Christie, I'd like to ask you a question. And I just like, I feel like we have something in common. Just the glasses. I feel like we could be sisters. Okay, so Christie, my question for you really, pardon me. My question for you is, reading your bio, seeing what you've done, you've led business development, you've led strategy in high growth sectors in Africa, really. I'm curious to, know what mindset shifts and, what strategies have been most critical for you in positioning yourself for leadership roles in such, a competitive space.
Thank you very much for that question. I would say one of the first work had to come from my mindset. I had to tell myself that I was deserving of, high places. That is one of the things. Looking at my background, not having to have someone and hold me or show me, oh, once you come out of school, do this, do that, do that. So I had to dabble in a lot of things on my own. Of course, with the help of God, because there was no predecessor or somebody that I was looking up to that has been there, done that. So being the first person who, other than, if you look at my lineage, My mom is a civil servant, so you come on government work. I remember when she was telling me that, oh, once you come, I go apply to become a police officer, and I'm like, 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 is that I couldn't fathom all this, and so I had to sit down. I had to learn a lot. I had to watch a lot. I had to go out and look for people who I wanted to model after. And I found especially young people who are doing great things there. That's one of the things that I had to do. Then obviously my mindset of telling myself that I can be here, I can do this. But I did not, take off the side that I had to start small. So I had to start as a receptionist at a place. So starting that small, but starting small, but having a global mindset, or having a mindset that shows that I might be here in this small place where nobody even comes to the office to do anything. So nobody is seeing me, nobody is knowing what I'm doing, but I know that I'm going somewhere. So those were the things. Then obviously strategies for leadership. Well, in the workplace, I had to learn how to, while I was growing, I had to learn how to amplify the work that I was doing. I'm sure that the lady who spoke yesterday, I don't know who was here, she made mention of it, advocating for yourself and also amplifying what you were doing. So I had to learn that early on. Nobody is coming to save you. So you had to I had to amplify what I was doing. So if I do this and I get the compliment that I did this very well, I take it and I put it in something that I call a brag book. And a brag book. And at some point, every time I had to always, whenever I'm going back to leadership, discuss XYZ. I'm having my point. Oh, I did this. I in the pitch that we did this. I won this. I did this. I did that. So automatically, the stress see me as a high value performer, and putting things that way. Then again, what strategies that I did was I didn't commonize any cat. So people will say skissas or whatever. If my boss has this headache, I tried my best possible to solve that headache for him. Whoever my bosses were, I would go to, not any land, but I tried humanly and morally possible, something that did not compromise my values as a Christian, as a child of God, something that did not compromise the companies, got that headache from them and made sure that that problem was solved. So automatically, they started seeing me as a second in command and started giving me, tasks that ordinarily them would handle. And before you know it, leadership roles started coming in. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I love, what you said in the beginning of, starting small but having a global mindset. I think like anybody here could, write that down, take it to the bank, and run with it. Because, when you start out, sometimes it's like, oh, I want to be the president next week, Friday. How can I achieve that goal? So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, your story as well. So, Mr. Ogbonnaya Stephen, I'm at your doorstep now, and I'm curious to know, you're a growth strategist, and I'm just curious, to know what's the hard truth about the future of work that as the workforce, right now, we are still underestimating it.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to Chigem. I know it's hiding herself, but yeah, thank you so much for having me here. And to all my panelists, thank you for being so amazing so far. And for the future of work, I think many people do not understand how fast things are going. Like some years ago, for someone to tell you that they had like a long-term plan, it usually meant like 10 years plan. But right now, with the whole AI, in, as in coming into the market, the thing is that things are changing like in 3 months. Like a job right now comes release in the next 3 months. And actually being in that space because I'm working on like a whole summit with people from Google and OpenAI and stuff. And one thing I've heard is that the future of work has changed so much that if you're not upgrading your skills right now, AI is going to take your job. So the best place to be right now is for you to up, upgrade your skill level and upgrade the kind of information and the ideas that come from your mind. Because I've heard a lot of people say that AI is going to take jobs and it's bad. But the truth is that the internet took a lot of jobs. So instead of you fighting the internet and for you have to upgrade that is what humans do. And it's going to get even more crazy. I'm reading this book called the the Master Algorithm. It's a book about AI and how it's changing every single thing. And I don't know if it's possible, but if we can achieve AGI, all the jobs we have is going to be taken by AI. So the truth of the whole thing of the workforce is that do not be scared of AI. Just look for a way to upgrade your skills and learn the things you can integrate with AI. Because right now, I'm for like a growth role. I've learned that it's very important right now to work with like AI agents. You have to know how to build AI agents to help you get your work done. I'm working with this guy that works at Google. He's a cybersecurity expert. And he was telling me the other day that his job right now, he's trying to build AI agents that will help him get his job done way faster, or he'll get like laid off. So this is where the future of work is going. So you need to understand how to AI is just everything. Although there's a huge bubble with AI, the thing is that it is the future of work, and if you're trying to succeed, no matter the industry, you think yeah it's not going to touch. That is the future of work, and you need to upgrade your skill level and become more proficient with it. And you can start from like ChatGPT and just know exactly how you can use it. Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that does the job.
Awesome. That does answer the question. I've heard, a lot of stories like, AI is coming for my job. Oh. But then like when you put it that way, saying, become proficient with it, make it help you do your job, better, more efficiently. It kind of puts it in perspective to say, okay, I don't have to be scared of this thing. It's a tool I can use as well. So thank you so much for that. So I'm right back at you, Udomo. And I just wanted to speak to you and ask a bit more based off of your experience working with international teams. Like, I wanted to know what areas have you seen that professionals tend to neglect when they are trying to stay relevant in their evolving industry?
Well, that's quite tricky if you ask me, because different industries exist and it's quite broad. However, if I would pick a point or an industry, well, let me say skill, is emotional intelligence, actually. And working with teams across different fields and handling or communicating with different people from different cultures, backgrounds, and nationalities will make you realize that if you do not understand and know when to speak and how to convey your thoughts, you will actually just lose it out entirely. Coming down to the industry specifically, one thing I see people tend to do is restrict their background or their career search to what their background is. So I want to do just the accounting field. When I was in Egypt, I had a friend of mine. I advised her to come over to Egypt. Why not come over and help get a job for you out there and everything. She was a teacher, right? And when she came over to Egypt at the time, she only wanted to do a teaching job. Now, I've been in Egypt for quite a while. I know how the market is. And I told her that you could get something better with your skill, not just teaching. As a matter of fact, teachers didn't even earn a whole lot while in Egypt, but she just wanted to teach it because that's all she wanted to do. Now, to cut the long story short, she did not last long. She only spent 3 months in Egypt and she couldn't withstand the heat. She had to return back to Nigeria. She was like, look, Egypt is not for me. Meanwhile, I've been in Egypt and it's been from one role to the other, moving up the ladder, success stories. So I got to realize that look, people are just strict on whatever they studied or what they think they're good at, or not even good at, what they think they can do. They do not want to leave their comfort zone. So everyone is just still there, not ready to push beyond their limits to see what the future holds or what opportunities will come. Because I believe that until you go knocking, you will not know what's on the other side of the door. So you just need to actually push through. And I'm a testimony to that because all my opportunities I had to knock and create the opportunities. They weren't advertisements, they weren't vacancies announced. I literally had to go there and connect with someone who is at the top and tell them, look, this is what I can do. And are you going to give me an opportunity or not? And they're like, okay, sure, why not come over? And that's how it happens.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I especially of, your friend. So from what you said, I gathered a couple of points, which is, flexibility of not saying, oh,
Absolutely.
I'm a doctor, let me go and work in the hospital. And emotional intelligence as well. I think that's really interesting that you would pick up on that. But yeah, I do see how that would be neglected, by professionals.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so Omolade, I'd also like to ask you a question. Thank you for just being so present and engaging so much with other people's, thoughts. I'm curious, with your work at Interncademy, I believe you would have an answer to this. How would you say that young professionals can position themselves to take better advantage of internships and early career opportunities, especially as everyone says, the job market is tight, it's so competitive, everybody is going for the same, who am I? How can I get this job that 1 million people are applying for? So yeah, how would you say interns, young professionals can take advantage of internships and early career opportunities despite the competition in the space?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I think that's very relevant. And I just like to piggyback from what Udomo already mentioned. Right, like you said, it's tight, right? Job market can be quite interesting. I think this time is like very interesting, right? And if you don't, like you said, if you don't start to knock, because there are like thousands of people probably applying for the same job. So what sets you apart is you doing something that actually sets you apart, right? Like you said, is knocking at the CEO's doors and asking, do you have a position for me? So if you don't take those kind of, and one of the things I always like to say is be aggressive, right? And I don't mean like maybe gonna be fighting somebody or tearing their clothes, but be aggressive about like focus, right? Push for what you want. I think that's one of the things that young people should actually learn, right? I remember somebody, like one of my mentors, was saying that how she got a job many years ago. I mean, she was a young lawyer, fresh out of school, and she sent an email to the MD saying, "Oh, I would really like to work on this job. This is like what I've done in school," because she didn't have like a lot of work experience. So she had experience from some of the things that she did in school, right? And also like, I mean, and she eventually, I mean, she didn't get the role at that point, but they kept like when a position opened, they reached out to her and then gave her that role. Right. But if she didn't take that move, first of all, she would not have, nobody would have known that she existed. Right. And then that opportunity would have gone to somebody else that probably tried or somebody else that was probably in the pool already. So be aggressive about what you want, like push extra, give like that extra push, to find what you want. Don't stay at the bottom of the rack with everybody. Like try to just move up. And one of the ways you can do that is by being visible. Like share your work on social media. I think social media is very strong right now. I mean, probably then things are not as easy as it is now to be seen, right? So share your work, share your project. And I think one of the things that a lot of young people also think is, oh, I don't have a lot of experience, so maybe it will not be relevant. You have transferable skills. If you're in school, you've organized the project, you have project management skills, right? You've led a team to do something, right? You're like already a team lead. Like you can handle things, right? You have that skill. You just need to learn how to transfer it to a full role. So I would say ask for help. You never know, when, because I mean you have to ask for help, ask people for opportunities around. Don't just keep quiet, because if you keep quiet, nobody knows what you're looking for. Nobody knows the kind of opportunities they can even plug you to. So email people, reach out to people, attend conferences. This is how I got one of my jobs. Like I worked at the nonprofit that is at the top of women's leadership in Nigeria. And how I got a job was I attended an event, although not to get a job, I just attended the event too. And I liked the profile of the people that were coming, and I'm like, oh, this would be a nice place to hear these amazing women's stories. And so I went there, I spoke, and this is another thing. When you go to an event, try to pitch yourself well. Maybe not pitch, but try to what's the right word? Introduce yourself properly, right? You don't like go to an event and say, "Oh, hi, my name is Omolade," and then you just say, "Okay, thank you for, I'm happy to be here." Yes, that might be right, that might work, but you want to go like the extra and just say, "Oh, hi, my name is Omolade, and this is what I do," right? And just by doing that, I remember like the person that eventually worked for said, "Oh, that she even had it in mind to reach out to me." So I went back to reach out to her and just say, "Oh, I really like your project," and she's like, "Oh yeah, do you want to, I mean, I'm looking for somebody to work on my team and I would love to employ you." And that's how I got the job, right? Just by showing up and just being there. So I think that's one of the things that, people can do to position themselves, right? And then now tailor your CVs, get your elevator pitch ready, like have something small. So when somebody asks you, "Oh, what is it that you do? What are you interested in?" You can quickly just tell them something, briefly. I hope this helps. All right.
Certainly helps. Thank you so much, Omolade. I really like what you said about presenting yourself well, showing up and saying, okay, like don't just say, my name is Bolanle, but just say, oh, I'm Bolanle, this is what I do, this is my track record. I feel like it makes for a much better, introduction and a much stronger pitch, if someone from there eventually decides to work with you. So, Christie, speaking about, events and, networking as well, I I wanted to ask you a question in that line. Early career professionals often struggle to network authentically because it's like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. It feels like a transaction, like this is awkward, for me. So how and what practical steps or mindset shifts would you advise or recommend to help them build, genuine long-term professional relationships without the awkward?
Okay. Thank you very much. But before I answer this, I would just like to, backtrack to what Udomo and Omolade said. Personally, for my own, I studied English and literature education. And if you know, like, obviously the line would be, if I did not become a police officer and my mother wanted me to become, I would have gone to teach. And so that was exactly what it was. But I noticed, like, because I mentioned that I didn't see somewhat of a model. So I started researching on my own. And what I did was early on, I looked at my strengths. My strength was in, uh, you know, I can sell you, like, I mean, I don't know how to put it, like, I can literally sell you to you. So, and that's a skill I picked up from my mom and picked up from my grandma, things like that. So in university, what I started doing was first of all, started working with my school's pageantry. That was my first work experience, full-time work experience. So I was schooling and I was working there, making sure. And the first year after I joined in, from an event of 200 the previous year, we recorded 4,000 students who joined. So that was what pointed me, okay, I have something here. Then obviously business. And what I did when I came out, I mean, obviously you're out with certificate and the natural line would be whatever you have done before. You were just playing, stop it and go and look for a real job. But I sat down and I said, what skill do I have? What Udomo said, what skill do I have? How can it benefit Mr. A or how can it benefit Mr. B? I aligned my skill, and what I started doing, I shamelessly marketed myself, shamelessly marketed myself. Like I entered DMs. Then I was on Twitter. I entered Twitter DMs. I mailed everybody. Even little research I mailed, like, I'm sure that people who, OGs on Twitter who probably will be seeing me now or know me now, they will say, who is this unashamed, naked and unashamed? That was it. And thankfully, one of all those procedures, a friend who had worked with back in university, he just gave me some research job, hired me, and that's how I became a reception. Hired me, and before I moved to becoming a front desk officer, and also backtracking, you have to be in place. Like they say, you have to be seen to be shown favor. That's the thing, and that's the strategy for networking. Now, not just being seen, you have to sit down and ask yourself, what value do I have? What have I done? What can I do? Or what have I not even done? But I know that if they give me opportunity, I can do it. Put all those things together, that would even help you, because for you to networking is an exchange of value, and that's it. What value does this person have to give me, and what value do I have to give this person? So that's the first thing. So you have to be your authentic self, knowing that you're coming to give value to this person. Sometimes you network cannot even know when it will be beneficial for you. I give you an example. um, I think it was sometime in 2019. My company then had, were into sales of games, video games, and things like that. And one of those sections is celebrity came to buy from us. And he had that, because we didn't know who he was online, but I somewhat handled the entire transaction. He came to our office to pick up, and that's when I've always had him on my WhatsApp and all. Then one of the days he messages me, like he sees my status, messaging me, do you have XYZ? Or can you do XYZ? I'm working on XYZ this, and I said, okay, yes. So I wrote the entire sales script, sales funnel, everything, showed him, advised him on what to do without gaining any single thing. I did that and I left. You get, some people will say, oh, is it because of, no, I've had multiple people who have done that for, and that was that. Would you believe that, months, like 3, 4 years after, I get a call from a business and said, oh, I was highly recommended. I'm like, okay, by who? It turns out that it was this person who, him and his friends, who was also in a tech business line, I was asking for, does he know somebody to come on board and do this? I didn't end up taking that offer, but it helped me know that, a connection I made in 2019, and I did something for in 2020, 2020 ended 2021, was somebody that reached out to me again in 2022 to actually offer me a job. If at that time it was aligned, obviously I would have taken it, but I had already gotten ahead because of networking. So one of the ways that I would say is, one, know your value, be your authentic self. Like you are an authentic person who know who you are, know what you can offer, and show up in that aspect. Show up like that. Show up not looking like, I mean, how will I put it? I can feel when, if you're making friends with me for what I will do for you, I can feel it. I can tell it very, very well. I would tell it. Then secondly, I saw now, if you want to become, like, I'm going to explain with my own story now again. I was looking for a mentor in my field because I noticed that I was growing, and at that point that I needed to have someone who can teach me the ropes. Not just from a place of what I read, but someone that has worked there, been there, done that. And I searched and prayed, and the Holy Spirit led me to someone who also happened to attend the same assembly with us. But she's very low key, but she's a very top person within our field. And I reached out to her and I told her, she was very kind to me, helped me in the first section, second section, and all. But I noticed that if I go back to always meet her for, oh, I'm having this challenge, I'm having that challenge, it was going to be a problem. So what I looked at, I kept my eyes open for whatever she's having, an event, a training, or anything. Whatever I am doing, whether I like it or not, I have cancelled it. If it's not something that I can cancel, obviously, but I will push the event. I will get people to register for the event. And as I'm getting people, I'm not keep it quiet. I'm letting her know, ma, oh, so like, so I've gotten so person to register for the event and all. So like, so she knows the effort that is coming from me. Then obviously on the day of the event, I am there with my jean trouser, black shirt, walking around with this thing, whether she invites me to volunteer or not. But right now, this is the way I feel like I can give back value to her. Because if it's money, she's richer than me. If it's like I get, if it's wisdom or knowledge, she's way like she has 25 years experience, and how many years do I have? So in that aspect, I noticed that there's really nothing that I can give her other than, helping push the work of her hands forward as much as possible. Now, if she looks at me, she's not looking at me as that small girl that is coming to take and take. She knows that as much as possible, I am trying to amplify the own work that she's doing. And that is how I would advise you to approach networking, because it's as much, it's not going to collect numbers. I have a lot of business cards that we never call, or a lot of numbers that I will never pick, because guess what? I do not see the exchange of value. So if you approach networking as an exchange of value, knowing your value and knowing that you're going to bring it to that person, you understand that it would be where you will be having a fruitful networking section, other than just, oh, you know what, my name is, according to Lolade, my name is Christie, thank you for meeting me, and all the rest of that. So even if you tell them what you do and there's no value that's, of what you're going to give to them, then there's no need. There's no need. And I want to say this, you don't have to network with everybody. Treat networking as a strategic process. For me, I don't think in a season I have to actively try to meet, one or more than 3 4 persons that are very, very, very necessary to my journey. So if you want, it depends on what you're looking for actually again. So if you're saying I want to network with this person for future job or for this or for that, know what you're networking for, know the goal, know exactly what you're networking for, and approach it that way. But again, I'm not discrediting just going around getting numbers, treating this and all. You can do that, it is fine. It might come in, for the future. But if you're at a very critical stage of your life, you're starting your job right now, you're just 1 year or 2 years, and you're looking for ways to get ahead, please treat it very strategically. Don't just go in there and kiki about and come out without having something tangible you're getting from it. And finally, final thoughts. You don't just have to network in physical events. Leverage social media, leverage LinkedIn, leverage Twitter, leverage Instagram, leverage, or you might even see somebody's post about somebody that you want to talk with. Reach out to the person. I like this person, or I've been trying to reach out to this person. Can you help me? Can you do that? It doesn't always have to have physical events, because if you cannot afford to attend physical event, which is sometimes paid for, leverage the low hanging fruits, which is even one of the easiest: social media. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Christy. I love what you said about, value exchange and networking, and not just thinking, oh, what can this person do for me? Help my life or help my destiny. It's more like, oh, okay, you help me in this way. I can help you in this way as well. So thank you so much for that. Mr. Stephen, I'm at your doorstep again. And I wanted to ask you, we've seen your bio is so much self reinvention, pivots and all of that. I'm just curious to know, what personal practices have made this possible for you to, thrive despite like uncertainty and your reinvention.
Yeah. Before I get to that, let me just piggyback off what Christy said. I think a lot of young people are very scared of networking because they're asking like, what value can I give to someone that is so huge and so big? But the truth is that the little things matter a lot. I remember in 2018, I read this book called The Entrepreneurial Mind. So it's written by a huge entrepreneur in America here, who is Kevin D. Johnson. At that time, I was in Aba, so Aba, Nigeria. So you need to understand. So I sent him an email like, "Oh, I loved your book. It has inspired me to do stuff, to create stuff on my own." And he responded. And when I was trying to apply for my MBA, he was the guy that helped me to um, fine tune my application. Now, this guy right now is now a professor in MIT. And if you know, MIT is like the top, like one of the top schools in the entire world. So he helped me out with my application. And when I asked him, please, what can I do to help you out, like to repay the kindness and stuff? He just told me to send him a Spotify playlist. So I created a Spotify playlist of Christian songs that are more like Afrobeats because he likes them and sent it to him. So your value doesn't have a like something so huge. It could be the little things like a playlist. Just make sure that you're trying to give something in return, because if you keep taking and taking, even God doesn't like that. So the small things matter a lot. And yeah, to the point of reinvention, I think the biggest things that have like helped me a lot in reinvention is that I'm scared of I'm scared of having regrets in my life. I think that has been like the biggest I've ever had. I remember when we were in my final year in school, my mates were ready to go into the entire world and start looking for jobs, do an NYSC. I told myself, okay, I've seen my parents, I've seen my uncle. I didn't like the trajectory, like having money problems. I hate having money problems. So I started looking for skills, like doing anything. I tried designing female bags. I went to area market in Aba. I tried different things until I landed in copywriting. And that was how I was able to make my first like $1,000, $10,000 or $20,000. In fact, I'm paying for my MBA right now, and it's all from my income. The one thing I will attribute to look into your future. A lot of us are so distracted, like, and that's the problem with people right now. Like, I'm trying so hard to stop using like social media every single time. We don't have the time to think again, because at that point in my life, I had a lot of time. Like, it was just like Facebook, so I had a lot of time to like sit and just say, okay, where is my life going? So being able to sit down and ask yourself, in the next 5, 10 years, where do I want to be, and do I like the things around me? Then you start looking for skills. I see one of the biggest things you can do in your life is to become someone who loves to learn new things. Because right now in my MBA, I'm taking a SQL course. I'm going to take like a PMA course like in New York like next 2 weeks. So I'm always trying to get new information. And the thing is that when you meet people who are creative, who are huge, and who are industry leaders, they can tell if you're someone who loves to learn. They can tell from your conversations, because the things you say carry more weight. And I remember I was having a conversation with a product marketing manager at Microsoft yesterday, and I was talking about AI agents, deterministic AI and RAG AI, and she was so impressed, because a lot of people weren't, even though it was online, they didn't go deep into learning the terminologies, the jargons, and the words, and not understanding what it meant. So how to reinvent yourself is knowing where you want to be and be a seeker of knowledge. And please read. If you are here, you're a young person, please read. Like on my table right now, I have like like a lot of books, because that's the way you can stand out. That's the way you can when you speak, people listen to you, because your words have depth and you have confidence. And the fourth way to reinvent yourself is keeping promises to yourself. A lot of people don't understand that. You don't get confidence by talking to a mirror. I am strong. I am rich. I am or I'm all that. I think that's just um yeah. So the truth is that when you keep a promise to yourself, let's say you want to start brushing your teeth twice a day, and you do it for the first day, good. You do it for the second day, good. You do it for the third day, good. And that is, you're building confidence and telling yourself, okay, if I say something or I set a goal, I'm going to do it. It builds the confidence for you to take any huge step in your life. The little things matter a lot. So if you're a young person here, please pay attention to the little things. Pay attention to your daily routines. I'm not telling you to go and do all this gym bros. I'm a gym bro. You wake up, you do cold plunge and all of that. Oh, please, that's a waste of time. If you have a work to do, you wake up and get it done, and be someone that is reliable. And that's the way to reinvent yourself. Be someone that says, okay, if someone gives me a task, I'm busy, but if I have the time, I'll find a way to do it. Your yes should be your yes. If you're going to come for an event and you're going to be late, call the person on phone and say, I'll be late. These kind of things, they cause something called a domino effect. So it transcends into every other part of your life. So that's the way to reinvent yourself. Number one is think about your life, know where you want to be. Two, seek knowledge in every way, in any way you can. Three, read. Number four, have self-confidence. And yeah, that's basically what I have to say. Um, is anybody hearing me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we can hear you. I think she'll come back.
Yeah.
Oh, am I the one we're waiting for? My internet
Absolutely.
connection.
Yeah, it's fine.
My internet connection was having a moment. I don't know what's going on with internet these days, guys. Jesus is. Okay, so thank you so much for that, Stephen. I learned quite a bit, and trust me now, taking notes. I love what you said about, reading and keeping promises to yourself. I know for a fact that that's one thing I do, and I it has helped me definitely throughout my journey from being an early career professional to now. So my next question is for you, Domo. Thank you so much for stepping in my absence. Can see, so I wanted to ask you, just seeing the state of things in the world, really, what global trends would you say you see shaping career opportunities for young professionals?
Uh, in terms of career opportunities, I was actually having this discussion yesterday with a friend back in Nigeria, and it stemmed from the career counseling I give to my students at my place of work. The trend right now is study something that is useful for the future. That is what I'll say. Don't go to school to study mass communication, especially for those who want to probably go for the master's degree. The world is going sustainable. ESG, sustainable energy, or not even the energy part, but sustainable living. Look for things that are sustainable in terms of reinvention, like Steven said. I actually love the fact that he said make promises to yourself. Don't just go stand in front of the mirror and tell you, I am strong, I am kind. Just so funny. People do that a lot. But really look for things that will, or programs in terms of direction that people go through right now. The migration policies happening in the world generally, even in terms of scholarship opportunities, job opportunities, whatever field you're in, environmental protection, but it has to do with sustainability. That also will give you a key focus or a leverage that you could have. Because just like Steven said, the world, artificial intelligence, it's actually creeping in a whole lot faster than we could think, and it's affecting the job market. To remain relevant, you just need to show how much of relevance you can be in an organization or in an industry, not just with the skills you have. Unfortunately, our Nigerian education system or Nigerian training doesn't prepare us so well for that. That's where you need to always upskill. I'm not discrediting the education system totally, but I'm just saying it's not quite competitive compared with what you find in the world on the global scene. So if people who are looking to explore other industries, explore things that will give them more opportunities, study the dynamics. Look at, where do you want to go to? Are you someone who wants to go to the far west, or do you want to go to the east, or do you want to go to Europe, or do you want to come to Asia? It all depends on where you want to go. Now look at what is obtainable in that regard, in that region. I could say, for an instance, in different parts of the world, for Europe now, you have sustainable movement, environmental education, sustainability, even literature, literary sciences, sustainability. You attend conferences, the sponsorships you get are usually things that has to do with sustainable movement. So people should key into that as well as upskilling in terms of technology. I try to pivot into technology a little bit, but my brain couldn't carry it. So I like, just wait first. The law we studied is still hanging in there, but my brain couldn't carry it as much as I could. So I just kept it there. But for those who can, I will say you should do that. For me personally, I'm trying to learn multiple languages as much as I can. There's no harm being a polyglot. So I'm right now on two languages. So it's like, okay, let's see how much we can upskill and get there. But just look at what's great, what you could do. I think that's what Christie also mentioned. Look at what you can do, what you're good at, and build on that in terms of your skill. Build your skill on that and use that to leverage when you're seeking out opportunities. And that's what I'll say.
Amazing. Thank you, Udomo. That was
You're welcome.
Congratulations on your language learning journey.
Thank you.
Omolade, I wanted to ask you, just from running Interncademy and even your personal experiences as well, what role would you say mentorship has played in your ability to reposition and make progress, and how can first school leavers, early career professionals, how can they choose mentors, especially in these times of change?
Okay, thank you very much. And I would start by saying mentorship is very important. I don't know if I think people are now taking it seriously or just seeing like more value in mentorship, right? So mentorship is just like it's like an accelerator and or like a gap compressor or try to explain what to accelerate you because I mean somebody your mentor probably has had experience, you know, had experience for a couple of years. They've gone through struggle. They've suffered. They've suffered. They've learned the ropes. And then when they reach you or they mentor you, right, they're able to help you shorten the time, right? Because they've taught you, they've learned so much along the way, and that just helps you, shorten your own time. You don't have to go through the pain and the. So that's I said it's an accelerator because you can get to your own position faster, and then it closes the gap for you, so you don't have to go through all of that stress. So it's very. Sorry, I did start off as somebody who wanted to like start a business or anything. I didn't even think I was like business inclined or anything like that. But did get somebody that was like a business mentor just to guide me and say, okay, this is what you need to do before you start a business. Do your like market fit, try to find, do your research. Don't just go into starting an academy just because you think there's a problem. You need to research. Does this problem really exist? Right? Or do I assume that it exists? And then when you do your research, you know how to tackle.
I lost you, Omalade. I don't know if I'm the only person. I think Omalade is frozen. But before
Yep.
she left, before she
Yeah.
left, gems she dropped. So thank you so much, Omalade. I'm sure she'll join back in, shortly. But I wanted to ask you a question, Christy. You spoke in the last question I asked, you spoke about strategy and how to network properly. But I wanted to ask a bit more, what is strategic, networking, like practically, especially for a professional that's maybe looking to transition or grow past like their own current scope? What does it really mean, strategic?
Why I'm laughing is because, okay, sorry, I think hold on. Okay, yes, I'm back. So why I laughed was because I remember my niece also asked me this question a few days ago, and I had to tell her, it still all boils down to what we have all discussed. I had to tell her, one, it is her having clarity of purpose. What is the purpose of this mail you're sending? What is the purpose of this hello, hi? What is the purpose of, this attending this event? What is the purpose of putting out that post on Instagram? The truth is that nobody in this world can do life alone. No one is an island. We are all connected to each other's journey, whether directly or indirectly. So it's you having that clarity and you approaching networking as that. That is, what is the purpose of this? That's the question that you're going to ask yourself, because it's beyond collecting phone numbers, it's beyond exchanging Instagram handles or Twitter handles or LinkedIn handles. It's way beyond that. It's you, saying that, okay, I want to be this person's friend, or I want to be connected to this person because I like what they are doing. One, I think that I can offer something to what they are doing, or I know that I can offer something to what they are doing, or I can learn from what they are doing. They have gone ahead of me. I can learn from what they are doing. Or even if I don't have, like, probably a medical doctor or something like that, I don't have any skill to offer, but I like what this person is doing. And one way or the other, one day, something might come up. So that is that. And now, exchange of value. I know that it feels like we're circling back on this exchange now, because we cannot overemphasize on the exchange of value. So after you've clarified this purpose, you have to also look inwardly and say, you know what, I can be of value. Approach it that, okay, not just to gain, not what I'm gaining, not what I am looking to get from this place. If you're looking to only gain from that, even if it's a relationship of only gaining, let's say Netflix, you are the one enjoying. But guess what? There's an exchange about you're paying them money for them to get something, for you to get something from them. So everywhere you look, there's somewhat of a value exchange that is going on. So you cannot come and approach networking or approach relationship as, something to gain. Then lastly, water it. I don't know how to put it. Water your relationships. Networking is relationship building. It's relationship starting, relationship building, relationship maintaining. Every form of networking is relationship. I'm going to give you an example. When I joined my previous company, it was in 2021, March 2021. And, I was trying to reach out to a company. And this would bring me to my final point. I was trying to reach out to a company, plainly put, Kilimanjaro. So I went, I tried reaching, I searched Instagram, got the contact, sent an email, and all the rest of that. Nothing really worked. So I went to the restaurant one of the days to buy something to eat, the pizza. And while I was there, I was, discussing with their store branch managers, one of the branch managers. We had a good discussion and we exchanged numbers. Largely why I even exchange number was because if I want to buy pizza, I can call ahead. People should start making it so I will come and take them. But I ended up inviting him to church. He came to church and somewhat that relationship has just been there. So one of the days casually, after I'd been met with, no responses on my emails, I reached out to, I went there again. I said, you people, I want to sell something to you people. You are not even answering me. This your Oga at the top. They are not answering. And I said, who are we? Who am I looking for to send the message? I told him, said, that he doesn't have the correct number or anything, but I should send a mail to this mail. Like he gave me a mail to send to, and that's not a problem. So, or rather, he gave me a phone number to call. I called the phone, and obviously hostility at first. Everybody who has been in sales, cold calls sometimes there are people who are very hostile. So hostility. So I dropped it and I sent a text message. My name is so and so. So I got your number from so and so. Please give me 5-10 minutes of your time, and if it's not worth it, you will not hear from me ever again. So he then said, okay, and I called him and I explained that he moved me to the right person, and I closed the deal. Now, a lot of people approach, why I said this is because a lot of people approach networking as, I have to reach the CEO, the number one person, first of all. But it's not always like that. So you have to pray for wisdom and, discernment of this. So if you're a Christian, which I recommend you should be, you have to actually have this spirit of discernment to know who is the person that you should speak with. So now, if I had just kept trying, I probably would have been met with a blocker till today. But because I had to go through somebody who is not even close to the headquarters, nothing at all. He gave me somebody's number, who gave me somebody's number, who gave me somebody's number. You see the chain. But it had to start from somewhere. Somebody that is standing behind the counter serving me food, serving me my pizza. And that was that. So a lot of the times we somewhat see networking as only when we gain access to the CEOs, gain access to head pastor, gain access to, but forgetting that the people who clean their house have quite more access to them than you do. The people who, serve like, so it can, your network or your distance can be from anywhere. So treat people generally with respect, with dignity, with love, with kindness. Just always know that, have that mindset of this person. I know that we say, oh, your helper cannot be whatever, but let your innate nature be that you're a kind person, you're a respectful person, you're a good person. You understand? So whenever you reach out, whenever push comes to shove, you reach out, would most likely be, received with warmness, and people would want to help you. And now I moved both to say that I have moved three companies since 2021 till now. And Kilimanjaro has always been my client in all these companies. And if I move another company tomorrow, nobody, I say, like, you're selling something to Kilimanjaro and I'm selling the same thing. Don't worry, you're not going to win the account, because even after I've left, I watered it, I'm still watering it, and all angles, I'm still watering it, and I'm still building and managing it. And that is what networking is. One of the persons that I've worked with has left the company. She introduced me to the next person, and I have done what? Watered and maintained those relationships. So when you say, what is approach networking strategically, it means, what I would say, one, clarify the purpose of it. Two, know how to maintain and water relationships properly. Three, don't always, I won't say don't always, but who can be the connection that you need to the next point doesn't always have to be the CEOs or have to be the number one point. It might actually be the gate man. It might actually be the cleaner, the server, whatever you can call it, the lowly, let me put it that way. So approach them and treat them with kindness, dignity, and respect. Dignify everybody, no matter what, because that is, you don't know who would be the connection that you need for the next stage. So I think that that's really, really what, strategy. Then again, finally, I wanted to mention, tiny to what Udomo said. You should also learn how to praise people. Like, I mean, I've never seen a generation as which holds, celebration or congratulations or things like that. We withhold it a whole lot. I don't know why. You see somebody doing something good, please celebrate, clap for them, clap, shout, and acknowledge their effort. It is not easy to be doing something great and be different in a world where everybody is seemingly the same. Doing that, celebrating people, doing that, just someone shines a light of positivity on you. You do not know. People take note of people who said congratulations to them, who are genuinely happy at their growth. They do that. And guess what? When it's your own turn, they will find a way to make sure that your thing goes very well so that they can also celebrate with you. And that's that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Christie. Sorry, Omolade, we lost you for a bit, but I'd love for you to finish up your thoughts, if that's okay.
Yes, that is okay. I don't know. The network has just been, trying to show me stuff today, but yeah, we move. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So I was saying about, I think I'll just round up, right, about how mentorship has really helped me build like my organization. But for like young people, if you're looking to, find a mentor in this kind of time, I think one of the things that I think Udomo has already said it, Christie already said it, and Stephen, but you just really have to be a person of value, right? You have to, I mean, don't look at it as far, oh, I want to mentor. Like somebody will go and reach out to someone and say, oh, please, can you mentor me? Like, I don't really get like, I want to spend my time, I want to give you my time. It's not like you're saying, oh, they have to, I mean, it's not like we're saying that you have to give something in return, but just be that person of value, right? Let it be like an exchange. So you don't just go to somebody and say, oh, please mentor me, right? You have to be somebody that, they can also look at and say, okay, this person can also add value to me, right? So look for people that also like maybe within the path that you also want to go in, like maybe in the industry you're looking to go to, look for them. And you don't also have to think about mentorship as far, you have to just get one person. You can have like a broad range of people. You can have people that you're following, maybe like on YouTube, people that maybe their books resonate with you, right? It doesn't just have to be like physically one person that you're always connecting with. It can be somebody that you're really, I mean, a lot of us, maybe, I don't know, for some people, maybe you'll have said like, oh, I've read like books from Miles Monroe and just helping you in your leadership, right? Or TD Jakes helping in your leadership journey. And they're not direct mentors, but they're indirect mentors. Are you learning from them? Yes, you are. Are you being mentored? Absolutely, right? So don't stick one perfect person. I mean, because you are also not a perfect person, right? Look for a broad range of people and then continue to grow. See how you can add value to your mentor. And when they give you, I mean, when you eventually maybe find a couple of people, like reach out, follow people like Christie already said, if you're somebody that's always celebrating people and they see that, oh, you're always maybe like in the picture, if you eventually say, oh, you eventually reach out to that kind of person you're always celebrating, and the person says, and you tell them, oh, I'm having issues with something, they'll be more than willing to help you. And that's how mentorship actually starts. So like be genuine. Don't always just go to, oh, mentor me and just want to take, right? And also add value to the people that you hope would eventually mentor you. And that's how get access to them. So if you see like they have an event, attend those events, publicize it, right? Buy their books, attend. Some people have like maybe free classes, attend their free classes. If you can afford to pay, which also gives you maybe like closer access to them, if you can afford it, right? Pay for those classes. If you can't, take the free ones, right? And yeah, I hope this helps. Yeah.
Definitely. I love what you said about, mentorship being a compressor. I feel for me personally, even in my career and my growth journey, I've really experienced that. So thanks so much for sharing. Back to you, Mr. Stephen. You spoke, about, doing your master's degree now, and I think that's just so impressive. I respect you, sir. I wanted to ask, in your journey so far, have you ever made a decision that, looked like a step backwards, but to others, like other people started like, wow, is this guy, is he not going back like this? But in actual fact, it was a leap forward for you.
Oh yeah, I've met like so many of them, like a lot of them. I think one I can remember is I think in 2021, as a freelance digital creator, a copywriter. So there was drought, like literally there was nothing coming in. And everybody was like, oh, this boy, go and find something useful to do with your life. Like I will enter a group chat in my school alumni page, and everybody has a job, maybe in a bank or GT Bank, and they are earning 100K, 120K. And I was like, in me, I knew that I could earn more than that if I double down on what I was doing. So I kept doing it. Then in that period, my uncle who I live with now in the US, so he found me a job in Nigeria that was going to pay me 112K. But this thing I say about keeping promises to yourself and going out there to do something for yourself. I knew that I was worth more than that. Like the skill I had could pay more than that. So I rejected the job. So it sounded very crazy, like you were broke, like literally broke, like very, very broke. Nothing at all. I was living off my sisters at that point. And I rejected that job. It was very crazy. It was very stupid at that time. But a few months after, I made my first million naira. And from there, it was just upwards. So I believe if you want to do something in your life, you need to learn how to say no to things that are not aligning with your goals. I read this book called, I don't know, okay, it's not here, called The Green Light by Matthew McConaughey. So he said that life will keep giving you what you keep taking. So you need to say, I don't want this. In his journey, he was taking roles for comedy, sitcom roles, and at some point he knew that he could do more roles that were more like in depth. So he told his management that I'm not taking these roles again. For 2 years, a huge star, his income fell. His manager was like, bro, you are no more in the spotlight. But he was insistent on that this is not where I want to be. And the next role he got after those 2 years, because life will try you, life will make you seem stupid. The next role he got, he won the Oscars from that role. So you need to understand, like, where do I want to be? And any other thing is a distraction. Yes, if you don't have money, don't do what I did. You can have the job and do something else because you have to feed yourself. But if you have the opportunity to not do it, have focus is one thing that can change your life in this era, especially when everyone wants to be everything. You have to be one thing, and people who do one thing earn the highest. If you read this book called The Deep by Seth Godin, so he said if you want to do anything in your life, you have to choose that thing and focus on it. Then you quit everything else. The Elon Musk, the Jeff Bezos, all the big guys, they all know one thing. Then they master it, they become the top, then they move to the next thing. So you have to accept to pay the price of being stupid. I remember when I was learning how to drive, I was already in my 20s in Lagos at that time. It sounded very crazy seeing a huge grown man. He doesn't know how to drive. But I remember paying the price of mediocrity was the price I had to pay. So if you want to do something for your life, you have to pay that price of looking stupid in front of people, but knowing that, okay, I have an end goal in mind. So I think that's one thing you need to do for your career. And young people, please, 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 please have a vision for yourself. Nobody will give you your vision. Your parents cannot give it for you. Your cannot give it to you. Your aunties, your uncles. But there's something about something inside, like without a doubt, it will navigate your life, even when you veer off. Somehow, the universe will listen to you. God will align you to where you need to be. So look stupid in your decisions, but know that you have a goal in mind and it should be big enough for you to pay that price. Don't pick small goals and then be stupid, because if you fail, you lose. So the bigger the risk, the higher the return. That's the law in finance. The bigger the risk, the higher the return. So if you're going to take a huge risk in your life, make sure that the return will pay you. So then be willing to look stupid. So I think that answers the question. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. I loved, what you said. Amazing, Christy. It's wonderful that you're raising your hand because I was just about to call on you. So let me just tell you, let me ask you the question, and then when you're speaking, you can just add the layer, add the
Yeah.
layer. Okay. So my question for you really was just backtracking to what you had said, about having a brag book. I know for a fact that sometimes like being excellent is not enough, to be seen or to be recognized or to be promoted. Um, I'm just curious how you have been able to navigate spaces where you had to advocate for your value, but then how can others, the participants, how can they do that as well without, burning out or without like shrinking, when the spotlight is on them?
Okay. Thank you very much for that interesting question. I just wanted to add to what Stephen said. First things first, you have to be okay with looking stupid. I don't know how to put it. Like you have to be very okay with looking stupid. As I am like this, even with all the leadership and everything, I am 100% okay with looking stupid. I go to my line manager and I tell him, this thing you have told me to do, I don't know how to do it. Oh. I've never been, I have researched, obviously, like I have researched, but it's still not clear. Guide me, XYZ. Being, how will I put it? Sometimes I can't remember where I heard it, said sometimes stupidity is a gift. People think that being stupid sometimes is not a gift. Obviously, you should not end up being stupid, but knowing that you don't know is one thing. But what you do after you know that you don't know is another thing. So that is where you should separate from. And lastly, you should always be okay with reinventing yourself. Right now, I think very soon now, I'll go on a journey of reinventing myself for the next 3, 4 months. And all. And am I scared? Yes, because obviously it will require me to pull away from everything that I know, everything that I've done, and just go back to actually starting afresh. But guess what? Someone who has been working a journey can never really, really, really start afresh. You have your knowledge, you have things that you know, you have network, you have relationship to start with again. So if you can afford it, when I mean afford it now, like you're not hungry, you cannot, you cannot not have food to eat, things like that. Please, by all means, go ahead and start again. You would have yourself to thank for starting again if you have to. That is that. Then I'll going back to the question that you asked about advocating for yourself in the workplace. I'm going to start with the more you grow in leadership, the more your eyes is open to what we call office politics. When you're still, normal staff, things like that, things might be happening and it's flying over your head. But when you now enter into leadership, you now know that this whole this thing that this man said, as per my last mail, is not as per my last mail. They are trying to, drag you to where you're not meant to be. Things like that. You start becoming more conscious. So what I would advise, in terms of advocating for yourself is learn to play the presence game. What do I mean presence game? You're at a workplace. Don't just treat it casually. Oh, I'm going to work, I'm coming back. Let your presence, like you're working today, you're doing anything, let your presence be felt at every point in time, both physically and also, otherwise when it comes to tax and things like that. So don't do the background. I'm a background person. I like my work to speak for itself. Na lie o. Your work no go speak. Your work does not have mouth o. It will not speak. Your work is dumb. I'm sorry to say. So you have to speak for yourself through your work. Let me put it that way. So that is one. That is one. So are you going to do that? Within your community, you finish a task, you finish a project, you finish everything, and all. Document it, post it online, tag your company, do anything. Oh, as we have finished X, Y, X, Z, do X, Y, Z, do this one, do that one. Then two, learn to take up tasks that you know would impact, like project that will impact positively on the company. Now let me give you an example. My current firm, we had to undergo a season where the revenue was not really coming up optimal, and the ideas that I was bringing for that was not being received in the best way possible. So I went to my line manager and I said, the economic climate for country A, B, C, like we have 9 countries where we work, is not the same for Nigeria. And I don't think that we cannot do that without for us to get this result. So give me the permission to just start XYZ. Whatever, if it goes bad, don't worry, it's on me. If it goes good, don't worry, it's on, the company would obviously be happy. And it goes, no, this, I said, okay, let's just try. So I went to speak to, another firm. And after deliberation, they said, okay, they were okay to come on board. We signed up this firm on a low, and before you know it, just from this firm alone, in months, we're able to make 3x of what we have been. In 2 months, we're able to make 3x of what we have been trying to make for the last 6 months. Seeing that this thing was very successful, what did I do? When I was sending like the success of it and all, I did not stop at tagging it to my line manager and all. I tagged both every other person, say, oh, we did XYZ. This thing has helped us to increase our revenue from this to this, and this is what we are getting now. And before you know it, I'm being dragged into rooms where the 1% of the 1% of the global leaders in the company are in, just because of one thing. So that means advocating for yourself. Don't allow another person take credit for your work in such a way whereby your input is not felt or done or things like that. Then two, be respectful. I don't know how to put it. Like, advocating for yourself does not mean you should start being rude to this. So understand who and who is to play. Like, you have to understand office politics, but do not play it. Let me put it that way. As Christians, I'm not sure we are called to play office politics. Understand it and allow it to work for your own benefits. Know the people where your work should be visible to, and let your work be visible to them. That is one. And two, your core values. I don't know about you, but I mean, there are times when I've literally had the arm to undo a problematic colleague. But guess what? My core values did not allow me to do that. Because in the career section or in the career world, when you're talking about advocating for yourself and things, like, people feel like it's putting somebody else down to make sure that you stand up. It's not that. Everybody can shine. Just know how to make sure that your work is being amplified. What you're doing is being amplified. The work God is doing through you is being amplified. There's someone that I listen to a lot. I think she's very smart. Her name is Temilade Salami or Olarewaju. I listen to her a lot, and she says something that your God's responsibility is to do the work through you. Your responsibility is to amplify what God is doing through you, especially in the workplace. And that's exactly what it means advocating for yourself. Now, everybody who knows me also knows that I do not like workplace bullying. So you do not be easily bullied. Let me put it that way. Don't be bullied. I don't know how to explain it. But if you know what you're doing, know what is right, know what you're doing, don't allow somebody to come and push you and kick you around. It also still boils down to going back to knowing who you are, knowing the value that you possess, knowing how to amplify what God is doing for you, through you, in the place where you're working. And finally, knowing how to channel your energy to the right project, to the right place, and let people see you as someone who is easy to work with. That is one of the ways that you advocate for yourself in the space. Easy to work with. And finally, my brothers, my sisters, this is a kindred advice. If they give you tax A to do, and the minimum output, to certify that this is a success is 50%, my brothers, my sisters, do 120%. It does something for you yourself than even for what they say. Yes, you over deliver, shatter the show. But guess what? It gives you confidence in your own ability. Like, I don't know how to put it. You become confident in your abilities to deliver on task, or deliver on promises or things that you have agreed to. Don't be that person that they give a task to, and 2 weeks after they're asking you and you're doing I'm working on it, I'm working on it, I'm working on it, I'm working on it. No problem. If you come and work, I will know. If you heard that people that work with me, they know. I won't even ask you again 2 times. I will give it to, sometimes I will give it to someone junior to you, and watch that person who is hungry deliver. And before you know it, if they start passing tax on you, sorry, you have to wake up and do things in a different way before they will notice you again. Don't let, except it's not among your course fees, but don't let them have you and they pass a tax that you know is high value to another person. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. These are ways or things that I do to make sure that I advocate for myself in a place that is constantly fighting to make sure that some voices are not heard. I don't know if this was given value or something, but I mean, this is it for me.
Thank you so much. That really was very helpful. My last question is for you, Omolade Ademiluyi. I wanted to ask you, how would you say it's possible to progress, in an environment that's not changing like fast enough, like it's not evolving fast enough, but you still want to progress as an individual, as a professional? Like, how do you stay ahead in that kind of environment?
Okay, so thank you for asking that. So one of the things I would say is, yeah, even if your environment is not progressing fast enough, you have to be intentional about yourself. So you have to progress, right? You will not let your environment, right, define you. We've seen a lot of people who come up from very funny environments. Why? Because they decided to be outliers or trailblazers, right? And so one of the things you want to do is watch your mindset. Your mindset, as long as your mindset is not defeated, right? As long as your own mindset is not put to the ground, there's nothing you cannot achieve. And then look at that environment as I think I would call it a launch pad, right? I feel like maybe lower environment or struggling environments are even like the best places to thrive, right? Because you can see a lot of problems around, and then you can now begin to ask, what kind of problems can I solve? Like, how do I even start to solve these problems, right? I mean, if you look at how maybe fintech entered into Nigeria, I think it was Zenith Bank that first started ATMs, right? How did they noticed that there was a problem, but they won't just say, oh, there's a problem, the environment is slow. You decide to try, and then you decide to try it out. and then you go and you go for it. I hope you can hear me because I think my video is okay. It's frozen. Okay, right. Yeah. So don't let your environment limit your mindset. One of the things you want to do is what's work on your mind, right? And how can you do that? We already talked about it a lot today. Continue to learn. Like continue to learn. We have courses. Thank God, we have free courses now. You can go to Udemy, yes, Coursera. You can learn free things. YouTube is free, right? You can continue to learn, right? If you can pay for certain skills. I think it was Stephen that was saying he's going to is it Harvard or something soon, right? Just to upskill. So just to make sure that you continue to upskill, you continue to learn. Free courses they're available, right? Another thing you can do is expose your mind. How do you do that? You can watch, like I said, watch YouTube videos, apply for fellowships there. What does it do for you? It helps you to get to know other people in other countries, in other places that are doing, amazing work. And then you can learn from them, even though you don't have that mind. By learning from other people who have gone through that phase, maybe globally, right? You're able to now expand your mind and see how you can now tailor that into your own context, right? So don't wait for perfect systems. It might never work. You might wait for the longest time. Be the person that is in charge, that is looking, what can I fix? And then now start to position yourself. Like we said, if you keep learning, you will definitely, get better at doing things, right? You become a person of value. You keep reading, you're exposing yourself to knowledge, right? You just see that you keep getting better. And yeah, and then you can fix those situations. So that's how you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omolade. A round of applause for our incredible, incredible panelists. Thank you so much, for your time. And I know our convener had a question. So I'll be inviting up Chigema Sinubi for her question.
Hello everyone. Hello Udomo, Christie, Stephen, Omolade. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've learned a lot listening to everyone, all the questions. Thank you so much for being here and for answering all these questions that we have learned a lot from. So yes, I have a question and it's for everybody. So there's this ongoing conversation on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is both big and small, There's this ongoing conversation. In fact, someone made a post. I think he just started like a new company sort of, and maybe there isn't much money to hire people to do stuff and all that. So he made a post and he was offering the compensation was offering was his courses and some other things. I don't know if anybody saw it. And I read the comments and all that, and I had questions. So that's what I want to ask now. It was more like a volunteering because he wasn't offering monetary compensation. So it was more like a volunteering opportunity. But then he will offer you his courses that were what, maybe 200K, I don't know. So my question is, we know volunteering is traditionally unpaid. What do we think? Do we think it should remain so? Or do you think that volunteers should be offered compensation for their time? Do you think by offering compensation, the spirit of volunteerism is removed? What do we think about that? What's our opinion? What do we think? We can start from, and I think Emem can just call anyone, to answer. Anyone can start, but I want to hear all of us. I want to hear our opinions on that. Yeah. So.
Okay, I think I saw Christy make some faces as the story was going. I think she has some strong opinions to share. So, Christy, by all means, open the floor.
Oh my God, what a way to be put on the spot. Hi Chigeme, looking
Hi.
amazing as well.
Thank you.
So, I've never, that's really a great question. I've never really thought about it because personally, all my volunteering efforts have never been paid.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've never had a paid volunteering effort before. But now, I mean, if you're a career volunteer, let me put it that way, like your job or what you do is volunteering, I think
Yeah.
that at some point you should seek for paid one because you will have to eat now. I mean, basic needs and things like that. That is, especially if you do not have like a good source of income and things like that,
Mm.
or you volunteer for all those World Health Organization, women rights thingy, and all the rest of that. And it's not a one day event. You go, you come out, and or it's something that you have to always put in the effort month in, week in,
Yeah.
consistently. Let me put it that way. I think that there should be some form of stipend or something like that
Yeah.
that should be given on that as well. But if it's, maybe once in a year, twice in a year type of experience, I think that, it should be what it is, volunteer without pay. Because personally to me, um, I I do not volunteer for a cause that I do not support fully or I cannot, without them paying me, it would how would I put it? If I'm volunteering, I'm making up my mind personally not to get any payment because I want to see that thing thrive. So it's more like I'm giving in my own effort to make sure that that thrives. You get, for example, the gospel church.
Yeah.
It's a very simple, it's a very distant. I work in the choir and other aspect of it, and I do not seek any monetary payment or things like that. And will I keep doing it? Yes, I'll keep doing it and I will not stop. So that's a cause that I believe in and I'm passionate about to happen. But if it's some other, things like that and you're volunteering for, if you're not a if it's a career volunteerism that you're doing, if that's the word, I think there should be some form of stipend for it personally.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
You. Stephen, do you have a different opinion?
Thank you, because I wanted to hear his thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. My thought is like, like Christy said, I volunteer in church. Like I don't even count it as volunteering. I count it as serving. But from a career perspective, first you need to understand your why. Like before you volunteer for anything, whether paid or unpaid, understand why am I doing this? Because that's what will inform you if you want to get a financial compensation or not. So let's say you're trying to break into an industry. Let's say you want to work at OpenAI, and they have like an event, and um, you're interested in getting into their company. It's literally a no-brainer for you to volunteer for it, even if it's paid or not, because the return you are getting is way bigger than any money they'll pay you. You're getting a network. You're getting maybe in future if you get hired, you get a job. So understanding your why will help to inform your decision. So no, okay, this company that's calling for this, if I volunteer for them, what will I get in return? And is that what I want to do it myself? Like I'm volunteering for an event. Well, I say volunteering, yes, volunteering because I'm not getting paid, but it's an AI event and it has people from Deloitte, from OpenAI, from Nvidia, from all that. I I don't want I want to get into that network. So there's no money you pay me now, and okay, if so someone says you're not paying, why are you doing it? The money is so inconsequential for me. So understand your why. That will inform you to get a payment. And most times, if it's something you're passionate about, a cause you're passionate about, please don't look at the money because when you tie your passion to money, to get in return on money, it becomes very difficult to keep it as a passion. Guard your passion. If you're doing something for your passion's sake, don't always time on it to it because let's say I love swimming for fun and I start putting a return on investment for like if a financial return on investment, very soon it feels like work. And when your passion now feels like work, you start to hate your passion. So always understand your why, then align yourself with what you want to get. And if you are broke, please volunteer on the side because you need to eat.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just it. Understand your why, then find your way to it. And some volunteer activities or tasks or job pay you more in network, pay you more in visibility than it to pay you in finances. So that's just my take.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen. Udomo, do you agree with his position?
I agree with both of them actually. Volunteering is volunteering, like the term says. It doesn't come or shouldn't actually come ordinarily with a remuneration. However, it ought to come in with skills that you will garner or experience that you will gain. I'll give you an example. I returned from India and I was broke. It was more or less like me starting my life all over again, and I did not know what to do. I got a job with a lawyer, and her area of law was novel. Fertility law is something that was quite new in Nigeria. Not you probably will find other people doing intellectual property, but not fertility law. Now I gained my employment with her as a personal assistant, and I didn't even have a place to stay to start with because let's just say life happened. And she wasn't, she told me outrightly that I can't pay you for your skill because this is kind of like an entry level role. However, I will train you. I want you to become my prodigy because there was not going to be any other person in the entire country in terms of law that handles fertility law aside her. So I saw that as an honor, a training for me, and now I have the experience on assisted reproductive technology and all aspects of fertility law that hasn't been passed down to any other person. Although I'm no longer with her, obviously,
Yeah.
but I wasn't paid at that point. However, I gained the experience, I gained the knowledge, most importantly, and some way into my, will I say, interaction with her, I wanted to spend just 3 months, but I ended up spending 6 months with her. She ended up paying me. She saw that I was doing more than expected, and then she started paying me. So the thing is, you could start a volunteering role, and when you prove your skill and your value, the entity, the organization will see your worth and decide to put a monetary compensation to it. So don't go in. Yes, it's a volunteering role. Don't go in with, oh, you must pay me. I need to survive. They've stated it outrightly. It's a volunteering role. You shouldn't come to tell me what I should do for you. However, if I see your worth, your value, I might have church mind, as we call it, and give you some compensation in that regard. So volunteering should remain as volunteering or unpaid. And if it's paid, then put it as paid.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Omolade, you've been laughing for a while now.
Because everything they be saying that doesn't make as resonating, right? But I also supposed to read the dictionary meaning for volunteer. A person who freely offers to take part in an enterprise freely, emphasis on freely. A person who works for an organization without being paid, right? That's what volunteer means. That's what volunteer means.
Yeah.
But am I of the opinion that volunteers should be paid? Yes, if organizations can afford it, right? I mean, absolutely. And then for the person that's also the volunteer in question, right? Look at where you are and what you need. If you cannot afford to take, you want to volunteer because you want to gain certain skills and you know that you really need the money, don't go into the organization, maybe expecting to get paid, and don't do that. You might end up getting hurt at the end of the day, right? Because your expectation is not really what they already spelt it out. So what you can now do is look for organizations that have paid volunteer. There are some organizations that do have, they will clearly state it paid. Yeah, so if you know that you really need the money and you also want to volunteer, now look for paid volunteering opportunities. But don't go to an organization and just think that, right, because I volunteered, then I should be paid. It's volunteering and it's free. And a lot of us have done, we've seen like a lot of, I just mentioned like Slum to School runs a very big volunteer-based, what's it called, volunteer management system. That's how they run. They do have paid staff, but they run with volunteers, and volunteers are very excited to put in the work. One, volunteering can do a lot of things for you. You have to think about also the benefits, right? It can open up doors. People have gotten like full-time jobs just by volunteering. I mean, Udomo already said you can get full-time opportunities, right? Just by being there, right? But so don't always just go to say, oh, I want to volunteer because I want the money. That's the meaning is without pay. So yeah, that's it.
All right. I'm in agreement with everything everyone has said. I just got worried when I saw the comments. So, they were antagonistic towards the person who posted that opportunity. Even someone had to, after, it was just, there was a lot of back and forth, negative back and forth on that post. So, and I worried that volunteering will now lose, its place in the job market. Okay, because I know things are hard in the job market globally. People don't want to even hear free anything, even though it's volunteering, they want to see we paid and all that. So I worry that, volunteerism, like volunteering in the real sense, will start to erode. So, it really bothered me, and I hoped that things will not escalate from there, because very soon we stop we stop seeing volunteering positions anymore, like just and we need volunteering positions because we will need that opportunity to just give back. So everything is not just about earning. Yes, we need to earn, we have expenses and all that, but we need also outlets, opportunities to give back to society and just expect nothing, just give that as our quota. So I thought to hear our thoughts on that. And yeah, we are all on the same page, I guess. So that's good. That's good. Omolade, are you still raising your hands? Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. All right, yeah.
But Christie, you had something to add?
Yeah, two people.
Omolade, you can go first, I think.
Okay. All right. So I saw the post that you're referring to. What I wanted to just mention was the fact that, and I think just for clarity's sake, right, that post wasn't exactly clear. I hope you hear me. Because he put out the post said we are hiring. That, I think that's what caused the confusion. So you put we are hiring, and then you now put it's a volunteer. So if you just said this is a volunteer call. Now, those are two different things. I think it's better to just be very open and sincere at the first, so that people, yes, it was a volunteer call, but people don't there's no missed gap, like communication gap there. So that's what I just wanted to say. And yes, if organizations can afford it, pay volunteers sometimes. It's not easy if you can afford it.
Yeah. So I wanted to share that my very first job in the university was a volunteer role, like the missing my university pageantry at that time. When I joined them, was actually volunteering that I started on. But guess what? Stipends were given.
Yeah.
Things like lunch, you understand? Things like tea fare, transportation coverage to, wherever we needed to go to handle things. Those little things were covered. I think that the idea of volunteering these days have been bastardized, and that's why people are revolting, paying with experience, like you rich experience. Guess what? I Yes, experience is great, and I would most likely advise people to get that. But you, as the person who is looking for volunteers, other than the experience or whatever they are going to get, please contribute financially to the lives of these individuals. It can be a 4 month volunteering, but let there be, I don't know, like there's no how you would say there's no stipend for something to, as much as probably transportation to an event. You
Yeah.
expect them to come for your event or the event physically, like with their work with you, or meals for a very long and tiring days, or some form of airtime or thing. It doesn't have to be paying them 100,000 or something like that per month or things like that. And also that is, I think that's this thing, the idea that volunteering, that everything, there should not be any monetary exchange or something like that. They will come and work. I mean, I've seen a volunteer call that you go every day for 4 months. You don't care about the transportation these guys
Yeah.
will use. So those things, I mean, I think that there should be a place to draw the line
Okay.
for, what volunteering is actually.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much. I love the way the conversation, went, how we were able to say, okay, volunteerism by definition is free volunteering, but then when companies can, they should always offer like help, financial or otherwise, to their volunteers. So I love that. Thank you so much. At this juncture, I'd like to invite participants to speak, if they have, questions, or even they have stories to share, with the panel, just want to share their experiences, ask for, advice. By all means, raise your hand, and you'll be allowed into, the meeting room where you'll be able to share your experiences. So you can raise your hand and we'll be right with you. See experience on the table. See the people that you have the privilege to speak with. If I were you, because even me, I have questions and I'll ask them later. But you that are, participating, I'd really encourage you. I'd encourage you to speak, now that we have these incredible features. Okay, Justice. Justice, you have the floor.
All right. Thank you, everybody. I've been listening, and I've I've gone close to being overwhelmed because the amount of information I've gotten so far is unmatched. So thank you very much. I wanted to ask here because now in this time we are in age of AI and a lot of technical and more advanced computer related fields. So, but for someone that isn't so computer um, grounded per se now, what other fields apart from what other fields should someone consider going into at this time, even if it's to support a little bit of technical knowledge? But what other fields, non-technical fields, are forward thinking or will be futuristic, like Udomo mentioned when he talked. He mentioned about futuristic skills. So, what other non technical futuristic skills are there to study or to learn?
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Justice. So since he referenced Udomo, I'd have Udomo go first. I know Christie raised her hand and Stephen as well. So let's do Udomo, then Christie, then Stephen.
Yeah,
Thank
that just looks like a question one of my students will ask me. What can I do? Right. So Justice, you're actually in the same web like me. Web in the sense I'm not from a traditional tech background or oriented background. However, I do research on artificial intelligence and law, so I have a little bit of theoretical knowledge on AI. But what other field can you move into will be what can you do? Okay, first of all, if I am consulting with you in this regard, I'll need to know what you studied, I would need to know what you've been doing so far in terms of your career path, what your experiences has been, and then I will narrow it down to what options are available that are non-tech related, right? So that doesn't, your question wouldn't, answering your question right now will not come with mathematical precision because it doesn't give me sufficient knowledge as to what your background is for me to proffer a reasonable solution. However, I'll say even if you're not going for a tech field, right? You can look at what you aim for, what's your goal. I think Stephen did mention that everyone should have a vision. It's good to have vision. And even though when he said the vision, I was thinking of Vision 2020, like Nigeria, and I wasn't sure where our Vision 2020 was. But if you have a vision and you build on that, you can achieve that irrespective of whether it's tech or non-tech, but then tie it into a sustainable pathway. Yesterday, I was speaking to someone and she studied urban and regional planning. Now, she's planning on going to do a master's program, but she's looking at environmental sustainability, right? Or environmental pathway that doesn't necessarily key into her urban, but it all depends on how you can connect both. Some backgrounds of some programs, if you're going in for a master's program or for an advanced diploma certification, will require you to have rudimentary background knowledge or experience in that field before going into it. So you need to check what the requirements are first of all, and then we'll be able to build on it. So that's just what I'll say for now.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Christie, you had raised your hand prior.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
oh, did you say Udomo has covered? Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, he has, but I will just mention something. Let me just show my screen. Sorry. Okay. Whoop. I do not have a set background. I studied English and literature education. So by right, I should be teaching Aya right now in the classroom. That's what I should be doing, probably. And but guess what? If you want to in a technical AI advert and things like that, but I've worked for tech companies. I'm working for an energy tech company right now. And probably the next company I'm going to work for will be technical companies. And there are many roles, a lot of roles that you can work in tech that are not technically inclined. Because guess what? Tech in quotes or any company is a business fundamentally. So being a business, there are other facets to it other than just technology. So for example, Google is a business. So other than the people developing the Google app, Google, whatever things that, items, there are people who would develop the product in terms of, oh, does this product meet the market? So you see product development or product management, product marketing, people who want to market the product to the end users. You see HROs. HROs, it's not a technical HR, even though it's a tech environment. So what you have to check, which Udomo has said, is your skills. Can they function in a tech company? That's it. That's just it. What I'm doing now, if tomorrow I'm going to a fintech company, I would sit down and ask myself, what skills do I have that if they throw me into this fintech company, I would strive, I would survive, I would do X, Y, Z there. And that's really it. So you have to just check what Doma said, your experience, your current experience, what you studied, basically what your interests are. So you find out that your current skills, it's not applicable to work in a technology-driven environment. You don't have to go and reinvent, what are they calling it now? Develop your skills, leverage AI. What is AI actually? AI is artificial intelligence that's helping make the lives of every person easier. So you have to learn how to use them, both conversational AI or generative AI, things like that. Go learn how to use them, then apply whatever you learn from there into your current skills into your current workplace at the moment. So what I would say is, whatever skill you have, whatever responsibility or things that you handle at the current workplace, look at it intricately and find what you can transfer to, to a technology enabled environment.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Stephen is no longer in the chat, but I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Justice. Thank you so much, my incredible panelists. A round of applause for this incredible team, this incredible panel. Thank you for your time. Take you for your expertise. Thank you so much. I've learned quite a bit from this conversation, and
so
I'm
on
so
the question,
excited.
Big Cheeks has a question.
Okay, she must have just raised her hand. Okay, Big Chigs, let's make it, speedy. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So I was taken down. I have like a lot of questions whilst the whole class was the whole session was going on. My first question would be, I was thinking, how can volunteering, because we all said a lot about volunteering, and I was going to ask, how can volunteering help bridge the gap, for someone transitioning into a new career field? Let's say, for example, maybe someone who studies law and wants to do something in finance. So how does volunteering, because I've had this opportunity, because I am kind of transitioning into a new field, and there was this opportunity that came up about, in the new field I'm getting into. So I was like, would it suit? So how does volunteering help the transitioning phase from maybe my old career path to this particularly new one?
Okay, Udomo, would you like to take that, or?
Well, how can you transition basically? Volunteering will help you. You want to volunteer, you want to gain the skill because you are transitioning into that path. So if the opportunity is up and you see it something you want to do, you can afford it if it's being paid or not. When I say you can afford it, that is if the volunteering opportunity isn't paid and you can afford the cost of handling the volunteering experience. Do you need to go on a daily basis, or is it something remotely? Look at all those factors, then you know if you can handle it. Otherwise, you look at other available, will I say, requirements that the opportunity comes with, and state your, will I say, what's it now? State your disadvantage points to the opportunity provider that, okay, look, you're interested in this. However, is there a possibility for these things to be made available to you? Sometimes all you need to do is just ask. You never know if it will be provided to you. I took myself out of Nigeria and I went to volunteer in India for a while. I was broke, but afterwards. But it was something I wanted to transition into. Prior to that, I had done the TEFL program, paid around $250 for that and everything, but to upskill myself. Now, am I in that field? Yes. Am I earning? Yes, I am. But it's all a combination of the experiences I've had starting with my volunteering, and it was great for me. So you just go into the field, go into the opportunity. Since it's a volunteering opportunity and it has comfort to your stable right now, why not just take it up if you can handle it?
Okay, thank you so much, Udomo. Christie, you can add briefly. Your hand is raised. Did you want to add?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I just wanted to put someone on the spot. So I looked up one of the speakers, and I think that this question really aligns with him. Um, um, Mr. Agbemi, he's a lawyer who is switching to who now works in finance. So I'm sure that maybe from his experience, he can really just share within this space.
Are you speaking about Oritsegbemi Agbajor?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Don't worry. He has a lot to say coming forward. But Mr. Shebemi, if you want to add to the question, by all means.
He's the next speaker, so he may have still been setting up. So
Okay.
I'm not sure how.
Maybe he'll come up later. Don't worry. Thank you so much
can
for
address that. Yeah.
Thank you. But before we go on, our convener would love to say something to our panelists.
Yeah.
So round of applause for Chigeme.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to every one of you. We joined from different parts of the world. I know Udomo he joined at 12 a.m. Not I know it was 12 p.m. in Nigeria, but it's 12 a.m. where he needs to sleep. It's 1 a.m., 2 a.m. right now where he is. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate the sacrifice. Thank you, Christie. Thank you so much. This is the middle of her day. She could be doing anything else. But thank you so much for being here. Omolade, I really, really appreciate it. I just sent a message to her, like, hosting a summit, would you, mind being a panelist? And, she was like, sure. And we went for it. Thank you so much. Please, okay, yes, Stephen is not here anymore. I also want to say thank you to everyone for showing up. I really, really appreciate, and you shared so much today that I know that we've learned a lot from. Thank you thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I learned quite a bit, and I know our participants did as well. So Christy has gone ahead of me. She has laid the ground. So I'm just going to continue on that pathway. I'll be introducing our next speaker, and the profile is a fat one, right? He will be speaking on building your path to executive positions in competitive industries. And if you see his profile, you know that he really does embody what it means to move from potential to position, which is, the theme that we're running with for this cohort. He is the managing director at Mega Capital Trustees and Fiduciary Services Limited, and has deep expertise in trust management, regulatory compliance, and fiduciary services. They've navigated highly competitive industries and risen to executive leadership. In this session, we'll be hearing about the strategies, mindset shifts, and professional disciplines required to climb the ladder in industries where competition may be fierce and standards are high. You can expect not to gain only inspiration, but also real life, real time, practical steps for how to position yourself for leadership roles over time. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us make welcome Oritsegbemi Agbajor.
Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes thank you, everyone. After quite some introduction, you just get jittery to say, wow, how do we shoot this? But good afternoon, everyone. I'm sure that you guys have had a pleasant time in this summit over the past, starting from yesterday, and this is day 2. I guess it has also been very engaging. Please, do you want to confirm that I'm audible enough?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen. There we go from there. All right, like they mentioned, I'm Oritsegbemi Agbajor. I manage the Mega Capital Trustees. It's a trust company which is based in the Nigerian capital markets, which covers fiduciary services, wills, trust, capital markets, apparently a lot of things. It's usually difficult for me to be able to say this is what I do, but for the purpose of our presentation, I will just leave it at that. So I'll be speaking, I summarize the topic as positioning for leadership and impact, which is pretty much the same thing, you know. How do you position yourself from just the potential that you have and moving into leadership and as executive positions? You know, when we say executive position, it speaks so much about what's the word? It speaks so much about power, authority, post, titles, and all that. But in reality, what we are speaking about is leadership. Every title, every position, as it were, are all opportunities for us to step into higher levels of leadership. So largely, I see everything rounding up around leadership. And then secondly, another thing I want to say before I move on the slides and talk about a few things there. Most of these things you see are really a bit standard. A few of them are my own inputs coming from life experiences I've had. So just take a flow, listen well, maybe write more than gazing at the screen, because the screen are just meant to guide my thoughts. And you're likely to get more from what I say than what you see on the screen. And then thirdly, I think I also do well when questions are asked. So you'll be able to get more by asking questions, because I think there is a lot to give, but sometimes when we are structured into a time and topic or something like that, you can't really explore all. But when questions do come through, I'll be able to give more guide, as it were. So positioning yourself for leadership impact, growing into executive positions in a fiercely contested and competitive environment. So let's take it from there. Now, the first and most important thing is you need to recognize your own potential. So everybody starts from year one. When I mean year one, your first job, the first year, the first employment, the first failure. They call people like that rookies. If you go to the banking sector, you're referred to as graduate trainee. But I think it's even stepping it up a bit, because now we do have people who are interns who go into trainings, go into workspace before they even get into their proper work life. So during their schooling years, you are able to get internship and the likes. These are one of the major foundations you could even lay for yourself when you're starting up your journey in the career world. So it's important you understand your potential, know what you can do, know what is possible. The reason why this is important is that most people are yet to discover what they can do. You sit down and look at certain places and they look so far and they look so unachievable. Some people look way ahead of you, and then you don't think that you can be there. So first of all, you have to know that whatever position you see people sitting on, the difference between you and that person is nothing more than either time, opportunity, skills, and discipline. So the difference between where you are today and where you are looking is time, opportunity, skill, and discipline. You know, the reason why, you see why I said when I said listening and writing more than what you see on the screen, because what I just mentioned in terms of time, opportunity, and discipline, you won't see here on the screen, right? So time, opportunity, discipline is the difference between you at a potential level and the goal where you want to be at the end of the day, or career-wise, at the top of the food chain in the corporate space. So it's very, very important. The second thing, which is also quite important, is the fact that your career advancement, your career growth, it depends on you. It's not the responsibility of anyone, right? It depends solely on you. You grow as fast as you choose to grow. You know, when you engage a few persons, they are always quick to point to say, oh, my company has refused to promote me. My manager does not like me. Or there's, you know, there are always stories why growth is not happening, right? But you have to let go of those stories, those excuses, if you permit a bit of stern word, and know that your growth depends on you. Fine, being a Christian that I am, there is something the scripture says, the race is not of the swifts, blah, 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 and all that. It said time and chance happens to them all. Yes, that is quite a fact. Added to that is you must position yourself. You must take deliberate actions to drive yourself. It doesn't happen by accident. So these are just the foundation I wanted to lay. One, know yourself. Believe in yourself. Recognize that you do have a potential to become that picture that is ahead of you. And then finally, also know that it's all in your hands. It's all in your hands. There is the element that time and chance will play, but I think 80 to 90% will be in your hands. Largely because when time and chance do come, if you're yet to play your own part, right, you will be, what's the word? You would not get the results you expected. Now, having understood the immediate things I mentioned, it's also important for you to be able to define clear pictures of where you want to be. I always use myself an example. Whenever I get into an organization, I look at what my entry point. I set my eyes on another target. Maybe if I come in as using the banking sector as an example, I can come in as a banking officer, which is like maybe second level or third level, depending on the bank. I can come in as a banking officer, but being a banking officer, I know that there are still about 7, 8, 9, sometimes even 10 other grades right ahead of me. I always define clearly that, okay, I'm a banking officer now. I'm targeting to, in the next 5 years, to become maybe a manager or a senior manager. Maybe that's 2 or 3 cadres. Now, if you are not deliberate and setting those kind of clear pictures that this is where I want to be, you may find yourself in a place 5, 6, 7 years, and you really haven't grown. It's not because there is no opportunity to grow. It's largely because you have not set a picture of where you want to be. So every day, you take every day as it is. There is nothing with which you are gauging your day. There is nothing with which you are gauging your career. What having this clear picture does for you, it tells you whether you are closer to it or you're farther from it. So it's very important. And now a clear picture, a clear destination would help you set proper goals. Let me see. Okay. A clear picture will help you set proper goals. These goals that we set we say your goals have to be SMART. So we start with the picture of specific. I want to be the manager, and I want to be the manager, so specific. You put some level of measures. It should be something I can measure to the fact that, okay, if I'm the manager come certain time, then I've achieved this goal. If you look at a company structure where there are about 12 grades and you're at grade 2, and you come and you set a goal that in the next 5 years, I want to be at grade 12. Grade 12 typically takes maybe another 25 years, but you want to compress it into 5 years. We will not tell you it is impossible, because trying to be a bit jovial, they say what God cannot do, what does not exist, right? But let's set that aside and come back to our own realm. Whatever you are setting has to be achievable, right? So you look within the structure that you're looking at, and I agree that, okay, based on this structure, based on the context of this office, based on the context of this organization, this is what is achievable. And then there are clear-cut things that you would have to do to be able to achieve them. If you set these goals clearly with vision and what's the word now, with understanding, you will see that naturally, if you put these goals in front of you, it will naturally reflect into what becomes of you. So you might see yourself in the midst of colleagues becoming different in the way you approach work, becoming different in the way you approach people, and even the task in front of you, largely because you do have a goal you are seeking to achieve. So it's very important that you set goals within your career, within an organization, all the time. It's very important. And I will tell you, that has always been my drive. That's pretty much what got me this far, and may take me way more than this, because I'm always living 5 years ahead of time. What do I mean? If I'm where I'm sitting today, I have envisioned it more than 4 or 5 years ago. Where I will be in the next 5 years, I am taking the steps now, and I'm envisioning it already. So it's important that you always live, you are living now, but there is a picture in front of you that has to be at the minimum 5 or 6 years ahead of you. It helps you, it gives you push, it gives you drive. And if you don't set that picture, then you'll be working with chance, you'll be working with go with the flow, right? Okay, now the next thing I would put out to you is, if you set that clear picture of where you want to go, 2 things. It is either it comes out naturally, or you have to be disciplined to embody that picture. If you want to be seen as an executive, you need to know how executives speak, right? You also need to know how they dress. You also need to know how they communicate across board, communicate upward, down towards colleagues and other people, and then even at parallel levels, you need to know how they do. So it's important that you carry yourself, dress, walk, talk in that manner, so that you gradually will grow into that role you are looking for. Do you know how it happens? If you start carrying yourself like the role you are looking for, like the picture you are seeing, people will start seeing you inside that picture, and start seeing you like, okay, this guy can be entrusted with that, right? Another thing that is critical here is what I call corporate values. I think that would be the third thing you see on the screen. If you go to every company, right, the people who set it up together always have what is called corporate values. What are our mission, statement, vision, and what are our corporate values? For as long as you are inside every organization, try your best, in short, make it a commitment to exhibit the corporate values of that organization. That is on the understanding that those values are indeed values, right? That they are not countering your own maybe personal or moral behavior. If there is nothing that affects moral, so morality is very important. If there is nothing illegal, there is nothing immoral in the values, then do your best to embody the corporate values. These are things that leaders see and say, okay, for example, I worked with Stanbic IBTC at the beginning of my career. And one of the values that was critical to them is respect for people. You know, in Stanbic IBTC, everybody works on first name basis, right? Even up to the group CEO from South Africa to Nigeria and all that. Everybody works on first name basis. Irrespective of people working on first name basis, there is still no room for disrespect, right? Another value that was very critical was integrity. So it was so critical that if you were the best performing staff in terms of maybe your financial goals and objectives, and you fell short of integrity, you would not be, I'm even saying, peradventure, I may be going too far to say promotions. You may not even be having that job. You could be dismissed because these are things that makes the company stand out. So you must, at every point in time, embody the corporate values of wherever you work. Those things will make the company see you as someone that can carry its values. Some company's major value is hard work. Hard work, you know, work the hours. Commit yourself to the time, to doing the time with them and all that. That's what matters to them, right? So if you find yourself in such a company, you know that what they appreciate are the people that puts in the hours and puts in the time, that deliver on their timelines. Sometimes you have to work some extra days. If you were working in an access group or other related groups around them, that's a core value that's very important to them. Is work, work, work. So you wouldn't be working there and be expecting, oh, work-life balance, I want to go and have time in the beach and all that. No. Their value there is goal-oriented. It's nothing stopping us, nothing holding us back. No excuses. So you must do that. You must understand it and then apply yourself to it. Otherwise, you may not be working with them. You may just be passing time. And each time you are passing without investing it into your career, you know, people think it's because you are working that you are investing. No, there are extra things you do that shows that you are investing into your career. So it's very important we take note of that. Like I said, these are some of the things that you may not see in in contemporary discussions like this. You may not see them. If you were able to if you even go on and ask these questions to AI, you may not see corporate values there as one of the options and discussions it will give to you. So these are things from personal experiences that is critical. Now, in also positioning yourself, I chose the word have a role model and I said mentorship is optional, largely because at different stages of my life, I have had people who model the picture I am pursuing. So I'll give you an example. When I started picturing becoming an executive, becoming the head of a business, to lead, becoming the MD, I started feeling, looking at the industry, looking everywhere around me. I started feeling like, was I too young to step into that role and take on all that? Because when I look around, I see a lot of people older than me playing those roles. But what did I do instead? I carefully looked around for younger people who were already achieving, who were already sitting in those kind of roles. What that did for me is that it helped me to know that what I'm chasing was not what's the word? I wasn't chasing it wasn't a wild goose chase. I was chasing something real. It's not something that others have not achieved. So it gave validity to my dreams, right? It gave validity to my pursuits. And then I kept looking at these people. I had a colleague, I think it was 2 years older than me in my industry. He had also pushed, and he was also in executive roles in other organizations. And I was like, okay, that's the justification I have, that if he can do it, and I know him, we both talk, we both engage, we speak on, and I know that, look, we're on parallel in terms of mentally. It's not far from me, skill-wise, knowledge-wise, and the likes. So if he could do it, why not me? So that picture, that model gave me some form of validation, to be sure that, okay, what I'm setting to do, I will do it. I can do it, and it's not out of reach. And then with those models and those people you see, you will now have to learn from their successes and failures. This is a very critical one. People, when you're on this journey to grow fast, to rise, it doesn't come simple, right? There will be some audacious things you would have to do. And that brings me to something I missed at the beginning, to say, when we are talking about career growth, when you're talking about becoming an executive, when we are talking about becoming an industry leader and the likes, you have two options. Option is growing within a single organization, right? Another one is you growing within the industry, but not the same organization. Both will get you to your destination, right? Both will get you to your destination. But I think one is usually faster, which is growing in the industry, not necessarily growing within the same organization. So you don't sit down and say, my boss has not promoted me for the past 4 years, and then your only prayer point, as it were, is, Father, touch the heart of my boss for a promotion. Scripture permits me to use once again, I'm a Christian by all means, says promotion doesn't come from anyone, it comes from who? From God. So if you have some of those understanding, you would focus maybe more on things like that, and not feel that people are the reason. I pointed out at the beginning that people are not the reason why you don't grow. So learn from the successes of these people. I had this friend, the one I was speaking about, who I said was a model. He moved. He moved from where he was to another place to become a managing director. After he has resigned and came into that space, the title changed from managing director to what? To CEO, chief operating officer. It It wasn't what he wanted. But I was able to say, you know what, I'm here. Let's work. Let's deliver. And then the right opportunities will still come for him to become a chief executive, as it were. So it's very important that you have models. Now, don't get carried away. Well, I know I'm talking between 0 to 5 years of working experience. So everything I'm doing, you need to scale it down. When I mean scale, if I'm talking executive, you should be talking about maybe middle management, right? That's more like a short-term objective. And then gradually you push it up to executive, as it were. I also, another thing in visioning was that I will give you one. What I got as a model at the first instance wasn't even really a person. It was a job role. So then there was a time, I think I was maybe 6 years into my career. I was still a banking officer, which was more like second level than my second level cadre in the organization. And then I went online, I saw a job, right? The job described 7 years experience at I think, assistant manager level, which was like 2 levels higher than what I was today. And I looked at it and I said, oh, everything in terms of qualification of this job is describing me. So it means that outside the 4 walls of this company, I am seen as or rather as an assistant manager level. But inside the company, I'm still a banking officer. So that in itself pushed up my mindset to say, look, I started living like an assistant manager. That is what my current capacity and that's what my current valuation is in the market. So I started stepping up my behavior, stepping up my mindset in that level. And without knowing, it was showing out. It was showing out within my workspace and among my colleagues. So it's very important we do these things. Another one is to understand your industry. Now, what do I mean? If you know the industry you are in, you'll be able to position yourself properly. I use the word properly. I'm in an industry that allows for this level of growth. Also because the industry is also not yet in its full state. Let me use it. It's still a growing industry. If you remember, if you look through the whole banking space right now, and you see, let's look at Access Bank, for example. Mr. Aigimopede has been in the scene for more than 20 years plus, right? And it's not yet 60, age-wise. What does that tell you? It tells you that in the early stage of banking, it was young people who rallied around themselves and pushed and got banking license, and they were leaders at those times. So it meant that at that time, the banking sector had a lot of room for people to grow into leadership because it was still in its early stage. But if you were to go into the bank today as a, what's the word? Maybe like an analyst or the lowest cadre possible, if you were going to grow organically across, you probably would have finished your career and still never become a general manager within the bank, a GM. So it's you understanding that industry, the landscape, the growth process, the qualifications required to grow in that industry. And then that understanding would guide how you take the next steps, especially when it comes to personal development. Now, then you also need to know competition. Like I said, you need to track trends. What's happening in your industry? People sometimes just get limited to what they do. Their little space, but there is lots more happening around you. You need to stay in touch. You need to stay in touch with reality. You need to stay in touch with innovations happening. Why do you need that? The truth is, if you don't have a clear picture of what is possible around you or what is happening around you, you may be struggling on something that other people have conquered. So innovation comes up to help you do your work better, help you work faster, smarter. If you don't avert your mind to that, you may just get bogged down with what I call operational routines. And that's something else that you need to outgrow quickly. I usually get bored quickly, so I knew I wasn't cut out to be an operational person. Come in the morning, you already know what you are going to do. You're just going to do A, B, press this button, type this. It's a bit boring when it comes for me. I love to apply my mind, create something, be spontaneous and the like. So I wasn't cut out for operational work. Two, I also learned early that in this industry, the people that grow are not back office people. They are not the ones that sit down and just, what's the word? They're just adding numbers, you're just pushing files and pushing paper. You need to find a way to be among the people making money for your organization. You need to be conscious of the bottom line. Whatever matters to leadership should matter to you. Take the company personal. Wherever you find, each time you are in any organization, take it personal. If the company is not making money, don't say, provided they pay my salary. Be concerned. These things gradually form into making you that leadership material that eventually grows into position. Growth, they say, starts from internally. It starts internally. If you are waiting for it to show, if it has not happened internally, it's not going to show up. People won't see it. Sometimes you may even be in a role, and when the leadership potentials and the leadership that has been internalized begin to manifest, people begin to say, okay, this guy can do this, can handle this, can handle that. So it's important. I will give a particular story, but I hope it may be relevant in another space. Maybe here, yes, it's going to be relevant in the next space. So I said, you need to grow experience. If you remember at the beginning, I said the difference between where you are and the destination you are going is time, right? Opportunity, and discipline, right? I hope that's what I said at the beginning. So it is, you see, that discipline is what brings growth. Discipline is what will take you through technical skills. Discipline and time is equal to skill and experience. The more you spend doing something, you are growing in your experience. People employ for experience. People employ you for experience. If you say, look, I have 5 years experience doing a single thing, they employ you immediately because they expect that as you are coming in, you're not learning the ropes anymore, right? So experience is very important. For all you do, look for experience, right? Look for experience. Look to get your hands dirty. Recently, I was speaking with my wife. She also works in the bank. And then I realized that at the early stage of my career, I made a very terrible mistake. But I was very quick to correct that mistake. I remember when I started with Stanbic IBTC. I was a youth corper there. I just finished law school, a lawyer, and I was thrown into the legal department. I finished law school with 2-1, and I was feeling excited. I felt like the best thing after sliced bread that moment. And I was like, oh man, I can't wait to take a deep dive into all the stuff that the law profession has to offer. So being in the legal department, I wanted to see legal files. I wanted to do the heavy liftings. But the first responsibility they gave me was to make phone calls to other lawyers and follow up for some certain documents. I was so, what was the word? Heartbroken somewhat. And I was like, is this all you guys have for me? So I didn't do that assignment properly. But that was a huge mistake because the boss that moment mentioned that, look, if I give you an assignment, you do it. Doesn't matter. And then it took us a while. That formed a bad impression for the boss at that time. She's a Nigerian, but she has a bit of white. I'm looking at the right word. She was more like a mixed breed. She's Nigerian American, and she was like, "You're not a serious-minded human being." Now, fortunately for me, I had an opportunity to correct myself. I was now seconded to another team lead who was operating one of the hardest desks. Now, it wasn't hard in terms of technicality. It was hard in terms of volume and error rates, pressures. People are chasing you from all directions. It was quite operational. And then I was a youth corper, and I think one of them went on leave, on maternity leave, and I was left to that desk. And I took it on. I kept pushing on that desk. That desk drilled me seriously. And eventually I found myself, that gave me the opportunity to, correct the impression towards my boss that that already had a bad impression about me. Actually, one of the days he looked at me and said, "Young man, you don't want to go home, you are still working." So are you trying to impress me? And I looked at her, I said, "I hope it's working." And she smiled and walked away, So those things you do are called experience. Every task given to you is adding to your experience. So don't be selective of tasks. Don't be selective of what you like, what you don't like. Do everything. Everything that is thrown at you, do it. You are growing in those things. The more I grow, I remember everything I have done at my beginning stage. I realize that those things put together is what makes me the kind of leader I am today. Because God has helped me that I've had the experience of being a technical leader, that I have all the technical skills. I've had experience in little things that when a young person walks into my office and has a challenge to say, "Oh, I don't understand this. How do I go about this?" There's hardly a time that I don't have something to give. Why? Because I have done them one way or the other in previous times. So get your hands dirty. It's actually quite important. Get your hands dirty in doing stuff. And then most importantly, you need to learn what we call soft skills. Soft skills is different from knowing how to do the work. It's different from getting the work done. Soft skills are skills that you need to learn in the workspace. Maybe skills like listening carefully, clear communication, skills like emotional intelligence. These are little subtle skills that you must balance with hard work. Some people are the best performing people in their units, but nobody likes to work with them. They're like solo people. Because when you work with them, they will insult you because, your pace is too slow. You are faster than everybody, so everybody is too slow for you. You don't know how to. So you must find a clear-cut balance between your soft skill and your hard skills and make sure that there's a healthy balance there. And then people are your best tools or are your best resources that you would have ever in this workspace. Why do I say so? For every step of growth I have experienced, it has taken people, either contemporaries or people who are higher than me, to recommend me for something big. So if there is one thing you must take away from this when it comes to pushing for your career growth, is that people are your biggest resources. Don't leave a bad impression on people. Always make people feel respected. Always build trust and empathy with your colleagues. You know, people come and tell you that, the workspace is not what's that word? We're not a family here. We just want to get the work done. If you hear that, you know, I've seen another place where they said, if you hear a place, they said, oh, we are family here, that is not a good thing. Different opinion. But in my opinion, if they say we are family, it's better. Why? Because you would learn to treat people and build trust and build empathy and build more like a community. I came to Lagos as a youth corper. I didn't know nobody. So if I sit down today and I look at the contacts, the people I call friends, the people who look up to and call, 80% of them are people I met in the workspace, are former bosses, former colleagues. When they have their family events, they are calling me. I'm reaching out to them as well. When I have challenges, they reach out to me, I reach out to them. So I don't know the reason why people will say that you can't build a family out of workspace. So always learn that. When opportunities will come, these are the same people that will push you out there, you know? So these are very basic things, but they are actually the keys to. Now, the next part I'm going to mention is you have to build a personal brand for yourself. You need to be known for something. You need to be known, you know, for something. Like in my own industry, people know me for that the guy is smart and intelligent. They know I will solve problems. They don't know me whether I'm a politician, but they know that, okay, if you bring it, this guy knows his onion. Be known for something. Now, be consistent with whatever you are known for. If you are a person of integrity, hold on to it. Don't be two-faced. If people can predict who you are, it's better than when they can't predict you. It means that if you are predictable, people can vouch for you. People can say, oh, Ogbonnaya, if they say money was stolen, no, it's not Ogbonnaya. Some people can put their life on it because you have been consistent over the years. Now, the last one there I mentioned is working for top brands will amplify your visibility and your value. Today, one of the advantages I have is that I have worked with 3 very strong brands in my own industry. I've worked with Stanbic IBTC, I've worked with Coronation, which is more like an offshoot of Access Bank, and I've worked with ARM, Asset Resource Management Company. These are 3 of the strong brands where at least 2 of them still remain a major leader in the industry now. So people look at those profiles and they give you, and you're respected. Now, sometimes working for those brands doesn't come that simple. It usually comes at a cost. I remember when I was meant to move from Stanbic to Coronation, it didn't come that easy. It didn't even come with a jump in pay. It was just, it came with a higher role. I chose the higher role over the cash. The cash element wasn't that significant. When I was also moving to ARM, I realized that I had about 4 or 3 other offers on the table. ARM was not the most financially rewarding one at the moment. But for some reason, I preferred that because the brand was more respected on my CV. Until date, that has turned out as a perfect move. So when you are making moves, say you're trying to grow in a career and you have to move around, be careful of the brand. Some brands can demarket you. Other brands will amplify your visibility. So please, that's also things that work for you. And then, importantly, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Nobody is perfect, right? Know the things you are good at. If you are good with numbers, you are good with time, you are good with certain things. The areas you are not good in, don't beat yourself over it. Don't become miserable because you do have one or two areas that you don't. Rather, what you do is focus on the areas you have strength and amplify them to be more, to overshadow the areas you have weaknesses. And in those areas you have weaknesses, build structures around them. If you know you are terrible with time, learn to use, get some people who will be accountable. If you can afford, get an assistant. If you can learn the discipline of putting on reminders, using your calendars, things like that, whatever it is to augment your weaknesses to make sure that they don't become a problem. But know them. The knowledge of each of them in the first instance gives you that cutting edge. And then I think I've already mentioned this before. Add value to other people. Respect people. Respect especially the people below. And that's another thing I needed to point out. Some of us don't know how to deal with colleagues that are in the lower cadre today. Or I tell people, I don't treat people any different. I treat all human beings the same way, with respect. Especially even those who don't deserve, no, I think everybody deserves it, especially those who are not in the position that looks like they deserve it. The gate man, your junior colleagues, whoever, the one who's going to serve you food, just ensure you leave the right impression in people, the right impression on people rather, because somebody once said something. He said leadership was described as how you make people feel. Have you ever pictured that if they ask you to describe somebody, the first thing that comes to your mind is really what you think about the person? Oh, if the person has hurt you in the past, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. If the person disrespected you, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. Or if you have never felt disrespected or challenged by that person, you would actually say the right things. And then finally, in people and a relationship is never close doors behind you. In the last 3 years, at least one or two of my former employers have attempted to re-employ me. Why? Because when you leave a company, you don't leave the doors closed. You should still be able to go back to that place and get value, and you'll be received and welcome. And everywhere I've worked, if I walk into the place, except the people are no longer there, it's like what is left is for them to give me a table and chair and feel like I'm still there as a staff. Keep those relationships. It makes a whole world of difference in your career push. And then I will tell you the reason why I laughed now. I was going to say hallelujah, but I had to restrain myself. Okay, what have I clicked here that is giving me a challenge now? Okay. So, and then finally, no, let me finish up. I think I'm almost there. And then finally, my closing thoughts generally is that in positioning, it is not a destination, an immediate destination. It's a continuous thing. One, also, you have to be brave. To get to the top, you have to take what I call, I would not call it take a chance. I would say you have to make choices, and some of them will be tough. And sometimes when you make those choices, it may come with it may look like a wrong turn. It may indeed be a wrong turn. Be willing to make adjustments when necessary, and don't beat yourself over it. There is room for adjustments, and you will still get it right eventually. So I think these are pretty much the things I can speak with. I see that I've even taken more than the time allocated. Well, like I mentioned, your questions will be able to bring out tomorrow. So if you do have a question, I'll be happy to take them now. Thank you. I hope that you found this presentation enriching. Thank you. I can stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oritsegbemi. Thank you so much. Participants, the floor is open for your questions. If you have any questions for him, he'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. So all you have to do is raise your hand and you'll be given the floor. All right, Justice, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been listening and it was a wonderful one. Yeah, and I have two questions. And my first one is, aside salary increase and aside the title, the position, how else can you measure growth in your career?
Okay. Yeah. So you said aside salary and aside title, how else can you measure growth in your career? So the first and most important way of measuring growth is in terms of your capacity. What how better are you from yesterday to today? How do I mean? What you could do yesterday, can you do more today? Can you do it faster than you could do it yesterday? So it's really a case of growth. It's not just about the financials. Growth is not just about the all the word. It's not about the money and titles. Like I said, leadership is not a title. Leadership is influence. Leadership is capacity building. Have you become are you able to do more things than you could do yesterday? Are you able to lead people? Leadership is one of the major tests of growth in your career. What size of team are you able to lead? What results are you able to deliver? Are you able to mobilize people? Are you able to get people to work? You know? And then, are you getting to the level of influence? Those are part of the ways you rate yourself. Beyond, like you mentioned, the two most important things, you've taken them out, which is financial matters, and then the other one in terms of titles. So beyond that, if you've taken those two out, then the most important thing you want to have is leadership, because leadership sometimes has nothing to do with the title. Capacity to lead people and guide people. I'll give you an example. Today, let's say all you've done in your life is that you worked in a justice. What's your field?
My field is all over the place. I actually studied engineering, but I'm going into product management and that field.
Okay, so imagine today someone just throws you into I'm looking at a field that is just a totally different field that you've never been into, right? And you're meant to lead a team. In that field, you've had no single experience in it. You will find out that beyond the money, beyond the title, what will make you successful would be the other skills you've been able to grow over time, your leadership qualities, your ability to pull people together to work for you, your ability to motivate people to work, your ability to put square pegs in square holes, right, and round pegs in round holes. Your ability to do certain things that is not even tied to your technical skills. So sometimes we tell people grow technically, but it's also good to grow your soft skills. So some of these things are part of growth that people may not see, but in every workspace, it makes the difference. Today, I'm currently I'm having an executive MBA with the Lagos Business School. And the truth is that when you are done with your MBA of that nation, you are really not even tied into a sector. If you are done with an MBA that is based on leadership and understanding business, for example, you can be relevant in multiple sectors. You can be thrown into an oil and gas sector overnight, and because you've grown, you will still be relevant. You'll still be able to find a way. So growth is not only financial, it's not only positional, it's in the intrinsic values that you have gathered over time that makes you relevant even across board at all times. And it is very important that I point these things out, that look, We are in the era where AI can handle all your technical skills, or most of it. The skills that AI cannot handle now are the soft skills. So those are the growth areas I would even advise most people that develop leadership, develop soft skills, go out there, study things that helps you become a better leader, business manager, people manager, and the likes. Once those are things that AI cannot do. And guess what? AI can automate all the businesses in the world, but AI cannot be the CEO. It still needs someone to be the CEO, right? It still needs all the humans at every point in time. So if you get to the point where you've done technical skills and all that, it's also important that you take on soft skills. And those are how you tell yourself you're growing. Are you getting better in your soft skills? Are you maybe getting more technical skills? But it's very important at the end of the day, so that you don't push it aside. You need more money. You need those titles. The titles will open doors for you. The titles will give you relevance. The titles will also give you visibility. I once learned something someday. There are things I have learned and discovered for myself that if I come and I say it to a public, to a crowd of people, it will not carry weight. Why? Because I'm just one guy. I don't have a title, I don't have something, I don't have all that. But somebody who has a level of title, let's say a professor, he will come and say exactly the same thing I'm saying. Do you know it will carry more weight and more relevance? Just because someone who has a title, someone who is a professor, who has some level of relevance and influence says it, right? So that's the reason why those titles, those influence, those sphere of influence, all those things all work together into becoming what you want to achieve.
Thank you very much. I think you hit every part of it. So thank you
You're
very much.
not audible again. You're not as audible as before.
Oh, okay. Is it better now?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. I was saying thank you. You hit the places that are really, really important. And it led me to he emphasized my second question. This question I was going to ask, because you talked about leadership a lot, and that was where I was going to next. So how do you, as you're a managing director, how do you motivate your staff or the people that you work with to actually get things done on a timely, apart from the fact that maybe they're responsible, let's assume they're not even getting paid, let's assume it's volunteer. How do you motivate them to actually get things done, and how do you create an environment that is friendly, or that is friendly enough, or worker friendly or employee friendly, so that they are happy to work with you and actually get things done?
Okay. I usually say the first instance starts from what I call employee value proposition. In the first instance, right? What have you sold to them? How did they come on board? Right? If you are dealing with a voluntary organization, or you have people who are working for you voluntarily, what was that thing that made them interested in the first instance? You have to sell a vision. You have to sell a big picture. They have to see themselves as part of something significant, part of something that is making an impact. They have to see themselves as part of something that is bigger than them, and they get excited. But if people are not committed or tied to that vision, then it becomes difficult, right? So we start from the point of what have you sold to them in the first instance. Now, if let's leave that aside, that you are boxed in a situation. Let's say you were not the one who had to sell the vision. You have a new crop of people, or you came into a team and people are not motivated and all that. I think you need to do an analysis of the people you have. What really matters to them? Why are they not motivated? Do they feel, are people feeling detached from the company? Are people having personal challenges? Are people feeling like they're not fulfilled in the place? Sometimes you have to go personal, be empathetic. It's not all about the job. People are humans in the first instance. So if you don't connect with them at their human level to say, okay, what's going on? How are you doing? Make them feel comfortable around you. I tell people that I don't lead with power. I lead with influence. I lead in a way that whoever wants to work with me is happy. In short, I lead in a way that those who work for me would carry my matter on their head, not because I'm shouting them down or that I am a bit pushy. My own leadership style is a style that, that is a bit friendly. I get to know you, you get to know me, you share in my life, I share in your life. We are all one big family, right? And then when things need to be done, we switch the hats, we get the things done. After that is done, we're another big family. The beauty about this is if you show people that you care about them, even when it comes to the time of work, even if you are yelling at them and trying to get the work done, they will be able to tell that you are yelling not out of that you don't like them. You're not yelling out of resentment. You're not yelling out of disrespect. They know that this is we are getting the job done. But if you don't build that personal relationship and trust with people, even when you try to enforce things with them, they would still carry some bit of resentment and bit of challenge, worry. But it's easier if you build proper relationship with them, bonded neatly, let them be 100% assured that, one, you respect them, you respect what they stand for, who they are. There's mutual respect across board. And then when you need to get things done, things will be done. When you need to be stern, you will be stern and people will listen to you. So you cannot be on one extreme. You have to be both friend, teacher, and leader. And then people would work with you. That's one aspect I'm saying. But there's the other aspect to there are people whose leadership style is the hire, fire, hire, deliver, or get fired. No time. We don't have time to build anything. We are here to work. Come and work. If you are not working, you get out of my organization and move for the rest person. It's also a good way. It's also another way. People are successful with that as well. So it's really a matter of what structure works for you and what structure delivers for you faster and better. The one that could be faster has its own, if you want to go the hire and fire route, the timeline to replenish your team is also going to put pressure on the other people that have to handle that work, waiting for when you're able to get a new person and all that. So every of the options do have its own sides to it. But leadership shows that you must take personal interest in your people, and then they will take personal interest in your affairs.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Justice, I'm sure that answers your questions. Thank you so much,
100%.
Mr. Oritsegbemi. I don't know if anyone else has any question. I can't see any other hands raised. And so at this juncture, I'd like to invite, the moderator for our closing remarks.
Okay, thank you. I have a question actually. That's why I
Okay,
don't
amazing.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Agbajor, for the session. You've said a lot of things. I know that I know the level we're at here, and I know that this will be very beneficial to us as we grow, as we grow hence from here on, I think he's out now, right? Yeah, I think probably logged out. Okay, he's not here anymore. Let's see if he joins back. Okay, I have a question for him that I'm sure everyone will benefit from. Okay, he's back. So let me make him a panelist. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So my question is,
Okay, something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, for some reason I think I was out of it for a second.
Yeah, probably not a network issue. What do you think are the top 3 soft skills that anyone going from intern, entry level, would need to step up? So are there any fixed soft skills that you will need to get up, or they change over time depending on the level that you're at?
Yes, in short, I think your last question is the answer to the first one, which is the fact that it changes from level to level. For example, one of the very important skills for an intern is their ability to ask questions. It's a soft skill. People come into an organization and they tell you, go and do this, for example, as an intern, go do this. You have no clue what you have been told to do. But some people just take the file and walk away and spend some 3 and 4 hours going left, going right, getting confused. And then, where is the work? You say, I didn't understand what you said. No. So from the moment you were given the assignment, you must be patient enough to say, ma, sorry, please explain A, B, and C, what you want. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Get clarity. Ask good questions. And whenever even if you have asked the right questions in the first instance and you go back and you feel challenged, still come back. Feedback is one of the major soft skills that people don't even know how to give. Feedback, come back and get this communication. It's one of the most critical soft skills that every person must get, especially from the bottom scale. Now, but as you are going up, different things beginning to happen, different soft skills. So one of them, for example, is if you are becoming a leader, you must have a good listening ear. Some people hear but don't listen. People are quick to speak. You have to be slow to speak and quick to listen. Listen. When someone is speaking, there are 2 things you are hearing. You're hearing both their voice, you're hearing what they are saying, and you're hearing what they are not saying. Exactly. So little tiny things like this make the difference in when we are working with people. Another soft skill that we must all learn and is critical across board, especially as you are growing, is collaboration, teamwork. Some people are, if you're an high flyer, you are used to just being you can walk it by yourself. You just move fast, you deliver and move on. But if you are thrown into a team and everybody is probably behind, your ability to be able to drag everybody along and still get the job done is a major soft skill that a lot of us need to learn. How to collaborate. How to collaborate. If you were to go into a graduate training school, maybe of a bank, of any organization, one of the first things that will be done is that you'll be thrown into teams. You'll be thrown into a team of people, 3, 5, 7, like that. And you will have collective tasks that has to be delivered. So if you don't know how to collaborate, if you don't know how to understand people, that's why I mentioned at the beginning, listening and speaking. These are the 2 major tools you use for collaboration. You need to understand people's perspective. You need to understand. So in the workspace, everybody would have a perspective. Everybody will have something to say. There is always value in every little thing that people say. So collaboration for me, listening, feedback, asking questions, learning how to collaborate are key things that will always sort you out at all directions. And these ones will work. It work across board, even from under to the top. You don't stop collaborating. You can never stop collaborating. You never become an island in an organization. In short, by the time you have done 5, let's say 7 to 8 years working,
Yeah.
the next basis on which you'll be graded is hardly on your technical skills anymore.
Mm.
The next thing that people are looking forward to seeing in you is your ability to collaborate, your ability to get other people to deliver on their work, your ability to manage people and all that. So that's the next level that you usually would get to. So if you are now growing those skills even from the early stage, then you are already going to be a high flyer going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that answers my question.
All
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. Would you like to take the closing remarks now, Chikeme?
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I want to say thank you to everyone that showed up for the summit. Thank you to our moderator, fantastic Emem. Thank you so much. I just told her about the the summit. I wanted her to moderate, and she came on board. She was very willing. She was very happy to and very supportive of what we do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you to Mr. Agbajor for partnering with us. He's our major partner for this summit, Mega Capital Trustees and Fiduciary Services Limited. Thank you so much for partnering with us for this summit. Thank you to our panelists and more here, but thank you to all of them. Thank you for our attendees. We hope you learned a lot from this edition of the summit. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hope to see you next year to be bigger and to be better. And I'm sure that by then, when we meet again, we'll have grown so much. I will have more stories to tell. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Have a nice day, and have a nice day. Thank you.